Welcome to lesson 3, everyone. Welcome to lesson 3 of the Magdalenes. Welcome, Christine. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome, Melissa. Oh, it looks like you're the only ones on at the moment. Okay. I know it's hard for the Australians to get up at this time in the morning, but still, and it's late for you. So, yeah, so hopefully we get some more on. Oh, Eureka's coming, because I know it's late for you Europeans, so it's almost bedtime. So, but you're all there. Marianne's here, Eureka's coming. So, we'll get started because we've got a little bit to cover today, and I'm sure others will come on or they'll listen to it later, so we will get started. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to the Europeans for staying up late. It's usually the other way around, but that's good. So, and Melissa's been able to make it because she's in Perth, and so although it's really early in Perth, I just realised it must be like 4 o'clock for you or something. Ah, you're a brave soul. I struggled to get out of bed this morning at 5 o'clock. So you're doing amazingly well. And once we haven't got the Americans with us. Last time I said that, the Americans, it was actually a 7 p.m. one, which wasn't a good time for the Americans because it's 4 a.m. for the Americans, although Melissa's with us at 4 a.m. But today we do the 6 a.m. one, this early morning one in Australia for the Americans. But there you go. We don't seem to have any with us because it's their afternoon. Well, we shall see what we shall see. So it is lesson 3. We've got a little bit to cover from lesson 2 that we couldn't finish because it was just all a bit too much last time. So we're going to look at that. So just a reminder about your spiritual current as always. I know you all know how to do it and you're all using it regularly because it's a very important step for the Magdalenes to keep their spiritual current flowing and clear. The steps to your divine channel. We always just keep these in the PowerPoints in case anyone's got questions. Remembering, of course, who guides you. Mary Magdalene, Lord Ishtar and Lord Maitreya. You've got 3 very powerful masters. Your journey is the masteries of rays 1 and 2, which is will and love. And they always need to work together. And your experience is always to reconnect with the higher mind, to accept and embrace your divinity, and to allow transformation. So that's the journey of the Magdalene. And then, of course, you have the assistance and the guidance of all the archangels. And it's a really good idea to call on both the masters and the archangels whenever you need help. So today we're going to talk about the changing life work. So what was the changing life work for your lesson 2? So you were asked to practice your light language to open up your channel with your buddy. So I'm going to say to everyone, some of you have sent back your feedback about what you've done, which is fantastic. But practicing your light language is actually, I didn't ask anyone to really go into a deep channel, but just to practice light language together. So not to answer questions or anything like that, just to actually do light language with each other or to each other, and then send frequency, not to go into other channel work or anything like that, just to practice light language. So that's what I want you to do. So if you're not doing that with your buddy, please do that. You need to do that for the next couple of months, just opening up and practicing light language as often as you can. So really just practice that light language with your buddy. Welcome, Harnal, welcome. So just allow that to flow. Once again, light language is not singing. It is actually just allowing something to come out of your mouth. Now you might start with gobbledygook, but just let that flow. Whatever it is, it will turn into something if you allow it. Because what you're doing is you're allowing your soul to speak. So let go of your mind Don't be in your ego, and just let your soul speak through you. So maybe the mind has to do that gobbledygook because it needs to be in control for a while. So it needs to actually create the light language. But once you let go and surrender, the soul will begin to speak in its language through you, if you let it. But it's up to you. You can put up your door and close it and lock it, or you can open the door and let the soul flow through. It's a choice. And that's the practice of it. So don't worry if you're doing, your mind's controlling it at the start. It's why it needs to be practiced. So please don't then go into this huge channel for each other. That's not the exercise. The exercise is light language. You're also asked to practice using your light language with animals, with a baby perhaps, a tree, or somewhere in nature, and see what happens. And I was asking for feedback. It's a wonderful thing to do, and it's a great way to practice your light language because your soul is in such communion with other beings such as animals and nature and trees. So it really comes out, and it's a wonderful, it really wants to come out and talk to these beings. So the more you do that, the more you're allowing that light language to come out and not controlling it so much. So it's a great practice. You're asked to focus on your lack of faith and to receive from your divine presence what that is, not to reject or deny it, but just allow it to come and see whether you have resistance to allowing this consciousness to be present, just acknowledging and accepting and embracing it, not judging it, and then choose to bring it back using your 6 karmic steps. So this is a very good practice in mastery for Magdalenes, is actually doing the 6 karmic steps, because I know a lot of students forget to do their karmic work. And if you're not doing your karmic work, particularly at the moment, it's going to be in your face. This is what's happening with the whole of humanity right now. You know, we've been given, you know, this experience of a pandemic, COVID, to actually work with the collective karma that is sitting, creating density around this planet and has been for thousands of years. And we are in such resistance to doing that work. We do not want to look at it. We do not want to accept it. We want to give it to other people. We want to blame other people for what we're experiencing. And there's a lot of anger because we're judging ourselves. There's so much anger. There's so much separation because that's what karma does. Unresolved karma creates separation. And there's so much resistance to doing the karmic work. So if you're in resistance to doing your karmic work, please take a breath. Because I've talked about this before, but the masters have been talking to me about humanity letting go their karma for the last 15 years. And they've been warning me for years, well, not warning me because there's nothing to be frightened of, but just telling me for years that humanity has to let go of their karma. And they're choosing not to. And the universe is going to create this. We have been creating this karma for hundreds of thousands of years, and we've been doing nothing about it. And we keep reincarnating with it, we keep bringing it back, we keep magnifying it, we keep expanding it. And the masters have told me so many times that all the waste that we have, all this consumption, we're trying to consume everything to distract us from what we're carrying, what we're creating, where all the waste on the planet that we've happily created is all a reflection of our karma. The density of our karma, all the waste in space that's now surrounding this planet is all a reflection of the density of the karma that the human collective has created and is doing nothing about. And it's destructive. And so for Magdalenes or for any student, it is so important to not give your karma away, not try and deny it, get angry with it, resist it, but actually understand what it is and do something about it. This is a marvelous opportunity, and we keep refusing to do it, and the universe keeps asking us, giving us time to sit and be. This is a time to reflect, a time to go within, a time to do your work. Not to keep getting caught up in your stories and your karma. So please do your 6 steps. And then you're asked to create your code of faith. Now, I've had some sent to me. Thank you very much. We've had some lovely codes sent to us. But in actual fact, none of them have actually really been what none of them have really been what we were asked to do. So I'm just going to show to you, we were asked to do a code about divine faith and wisdom. So we write down the words. This is an intentional code. We're doing an intentional code. We are saying to the universe, we want to do a code that represents divine faith and wisdom. We want the coded parts of this code to come through. It's an intention we have. We're putting it down in physical matter. We're setting our intention for it. So we're going to sit in meditation. We're going to create this intentional code. We write down the intention. So we write down divine faith and wisdom. We delete the vowels. So we get this, what's left. Then we delete any double consonants. What remains are the letters you use to create your intentional code. The letters can be in uppercase, lowercase, a mixture of both. Then, without lifting your pen off the paper, write all the letters on the paper in one long continuous flow, using all the letters as in point 3. All the letters need to touch in some way. Once you've done this, sit in meditation and receive what colours your code needs to be and what other images or scripting or glyphs or symbols need to go into that code. And you channel that through and put it on the paper. Now, you might do it in a few hours. You might do it, some of it in an hour. You might come back to it the next day and sit in channel and add more to it until you feel it's complete. Or the next day or the next day. You then ask your divine presence to give you the mantra for this in light language. And then you ask for its meaning in your native language, your mother tongue. And then it is for you to look into the code and sound the mantra 12 times daily for 21 days to bring this intention into physical matter. Now, I've done one, Christine, this was actually yours that I've redone. So, Christine did one with expansion, peace, grace, freedom, independence, and balance, but nothing about divine faith and wisdom. She wanted to do a code about these things, but Christine, I'd ask you to go back and do one on divine faith and wisdom, because this is the intention I want you all to create a code for. This is the intention I want you to breathe into your being. But I took the one that you did, Christine, and just showed you. Once she took all the letters, took out all the consonants, she was left with X, P, N, S, C, G, R, F, D, M, B, L. And so you write them on the piece of paper. You can link them with lines, but you do not take the pen off the paper. And you include, I did them all in lowercase. You could have done them in uppercase. The X was in uppercase, but the rest were all in lowercase. So you end up with something like this. Now, Christine will do it again, and it'll be completely different. But Christine, when you do it again, please do divine faith and wisdom. Because that's the intention I want you all to create. But I'm just giving you this example. This had a lot of letters in it, which was lovely. But what then Christine would do, she would get her pencils out and decide where she's going to colour these. You know, what colours is she going to use on this? And she'd get guidance, whatever that might be. Is she going to put any glyphs or symbols in it anywhere? Is she going to do any scripting? What is she going to do? What is she going to put into this? And is it going to be horizontal or is it going to be vertical? At the moment I've left it vertical, but she could create it to be horizontal. But that will come through her guidance. So the code should start with these letters. This is the intention. And this is put down. This is the way to do an intentional code. You can do a channeled code that's not intentional, but this is an intentional code. You have an intention you want to put out to the universe. You want to breathe this intention in. This is what we do. This is our intention. And then we channel what else needs to support this intention. And we put it on the paper. So this is the basic roadmap. And then we go from there. So that's how we do intentional codes. So it's really important to remember how to do your intentional codes. I know those who were with us in retreat in Greece, we all did them then. So you remember that. But those who haven't had that experience with us were not able to do that. But this is the way we do an intentional code, and it always looks like this, something like this. I'm a bit sloppy with my letters, but you can be very much neater with your letters. Everyone's going to be very different about how they do it. Um, and then you will color it any way you want. You might just color that area or these areas or that area. You might color the whole thing. You then might put images in or symbols or whatever it is that you are guided to do. And you really need to do this through your channel, working with your divine presence. And then when it's complete, you can work with this code. It has intention in it, and you're breathing in that intention. You're creating a mantra with that intention, and it's activated through the mantra. So this is how we do intentional codes.
Ishtar, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Because you know what, I have taken expansion, peace, grace, and all the world here. Because when I have channeled, it was what will divine faith and wisdom bring me?
Right,
and
what it brings you, yeah.
Yeah, this, and that's why the reason why.
Yeah, no, I understand that, yeah. But I would ask you to go and do one with
I do. I do.
Divine faith and wisdom. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do one with this one as was in the changing life work. One you did was lovely, but it wasn't the way I want you to do an intentional code.
No, I do.
Yeah. There's a little bit of magic that sits in the way we do this, and it's very important for intentional codes. So we can do codes many different ways, but to really do an intentional code, this is what we do. We take those letters, we draw them. As you see, I started with the X and then off we went. And as I said, I'm a bit sloppy with my letters, but you could be very neat. You could have uppercase or lowercase. Anyway, but the pen does not leave the paper, and you create a code with all of those letters in it on a big piece of paper, and then you come in and you color it, you script it, you put whatever you need to put in it. You might put numbers in it, whatever you're guided to do that actually supports the activation of that intention. So I just thought I'd go through that with you, with your homework. And Colin, I was just saying, when we're practicing light language with our buddies, we just practice light language as much as we possibly can. We don't go light language and then go into a deep channel or anything, because a couple of students have been doing that. So we're just wanting to really practice that light language. So so what I'm going to get you to do is just to give us a bit of sharing now before we go on. I'm going to keep watch on the time, because I don't want to keep us for more than 3 hours, but I'm going to, because we have an activation to do today. But we'll see how we go. Okay, so Christine, you're the first one up on the alphabet, because I'm going through the list.
My Buddhi is Caroline, and I have to say I'm very happy to have her as a Buddhi, and she has a young baby, so she's not here this evening. But what is very interesting, because there was quite a lot of work to do, and what was interesting, that what I was, my code, I do it again, but I was very, it was very easy for me to go to the code. And for her, it was much more easy to go in the sound. So it has been a very nice balance between us, one supporting the other and one helping the other where he did not want it to go.
Beautiful, that's great.
That was very, and I'm sure it will continue. And there is a reason why we are buddies. It's because what we have, the points we have as lack to face to our own divine presence, in fact, it's very similar. It's very similar because we have a little bit the same, even though if both of us, we have done already, we already moved since a year, but still, there is still this question, do we really deserve it? Is this really us? So and we have done, I mean, it was yesterday, we did the karma work.
Good.
And we will continue.
Yeah.
For me, something very important has been brought to the light through this life changing, which is the fact that I have done a lot of karma work and work on the emotional body. And here it has become very clear that now I need to move on and go to the mental body.
Yes.
And what is left, enfin, there is left a bit, probably everywhere, but where really I feel now it's time for me to focus, it's on the mental body. So I took the mental body and I went to them. So it was, it's in progress. What else? The sound. What does the sound? The sound for me. The sound for me. I was not expecting this. It is really like it's emptying my mind. It's like if I have whatever in my mind, and if I do the light language, after it's like I have much more space and it's empty and something new can come in.
Beautiful. That is so wonderful.
So it's also, so now sometimes when I am overwhelmed by whatever I do, my son.
Good. Excellent. Because that's what
So
exactly what it does.
That's for me. That's for me. And I am. It's so cold here, and we have COVID again, so I have not been able to go out to do it with an animal. Because I'm quite in a small city, but I will do it. I will, and I'm moving forward. Yeah.
Good. Look, Christine, you know, as any student of the Master's Way will tell you, which is a 3-year course of self-mastery, that, you know, it takes time, and they get to the end of 3 years and they're only just really stepping on their path. So when we do these 1-year schools, seriously, they're just opening doorways for us, and then there's so much more work to do. I mean, I've been doing this work for 25 years, you know, really deeply, and there's still more work all the time. You know, there's always new stuff to work with, and it's not just all, you know, hard work. There's always new openings, new initiations that we move through, and sometimes we're working with the emotional body, sometimes we need to work to the mental body, sometimes we need to work with the physical body, and then sometimes we need to work with the physical and the emotional, and this comes up. You know, you're a being that has been in existence for eternity, and so there's so much within your being to discover. And, you know, it's like saying, I'm going to go out and I'm going to master and explore the universe in 1 year. You know, we're not going to do that because the universe is vast. So allow yourself to let go of any time things, anywhere you need to be, because wherever you are right now is exactly where you need to be, wherever it is. And
maybe I add something, because because when I shared it with Caroline, she was like, it was very important for her now. And because I'm doing sessions, I have people who come to me now.
Good, excellent.
And up to 2 months ago, even up to 1 month, I was not able to ask money. I just could not say.
Yes.
But now
you can.
I start to.
Good. See?
I start to.
And that's a shift. You know, that's a wonderful shift that you're having, which is great.
So,
yeah, that's a shift. And that's wonderful to have that shift. And we have shifts and initiations all the time. In other lifetimes, this lifetime, in future lifetimes it will continue, because we're growing, we're evolving, we're discovering all the many facets of our being. And that is the adventure, and that's the, you know, it's the great mystery, but it's exciting. And if we approach this work with an excitement and a wonder of what are we going to discover next, you know, not what we have to do next or where we have to be next, but what are we going to discover next? That's the way to approach it, you know, really. What's going to happen next? What are we going to find next? What's going to be our next aha, our next amazing connection that we're going to make within our beings, you know, that's going to expand us, and, you know, all those things that you just asked for in your code, that's going to give us that freedom and that peace. And so much of that is going to come to you. But that's going to continue to come to you. There is no place to get to. There is simply where we are right now, and being in gratitude for that. So, and you're so right. I mean, I hear what you say. You know, everyone was listening to Christine then. And what's wonderful is that she can really acknowledge what is going on for her. She is so observant of the energy moving through her and what it's doing. And you know, very fact that seeing why the masters put her and Carolyn together. I mean, it's the same thing with all the buddies. There's a reason you're with the buddies you're with. And the masters always have a reason for it, because there's an opportunity to grow and to learn together in some way. And the light language, as Christine said, the light language does empty the mind. You know why? Because, as I said earlier, the light language is your soul expressing itself through you. When you actually open that gateway and let the soul express itself, then the soul consciousness comes in. Not the ego consciousness, the soul consciousness. The mind consciousness can step aside. The mind consciousness is no longer present. It's not needed. The soul consciousness is there. The mind won't go away, don't worry. You'll be able to bring it back and go back into your ego and your mind stuff again. But, you know, the thing is, the soul comes in and does a clearing. It comes in and expands you. And the soul is connected to the divine presence. So, you know, you let the soul really express itself through you. And that's why we use it, because it's such a beautiful gift to open your channel, you know, and continue to use it. Continue to use it constantly. I used it for many, many years to open my channel. And it just brings me into that place. I still use light language. So, you know, it's so important to let that expression come through you. And it's only you can choose that. You can block it, which many of us do. But once you allow it to flow, it brings you, just as Christine said, this amazing openness of mind, because that's the soul consciousness. So try and let it flow as much as you can. If you're blocking it, acknowledge that you're blocking it. Don't pretend you're not. Acknowledge that you are. And the more you acknowledge that, eventually you'll move away from there and you'll let it flow. But don't pretend you're not blocking it if you are. So if your mind's still trying to control it, then just admit that your mind's still controlling at the moment. It's very normal, because sometimes it's not always the rational thought. You know, light language is not quite rational. So the mind doesn't know what you're doing, and the soul's coming in. So thank you, Christine, for that very enlightening sharing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Always a delight to hear from Christine. She's always got great sharing, great insights. We're going to our beautiful Catherine now.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. So my buddy and I, we did meet only once, where we wrapped up from our first lesson, because she had channeled first, so then it was my turn. So I've done that now. We had a problem getting together last weekend. So actually tomorrow morning, my time, we are reconnecting. Good. And so we will be doing, so hopefully we both show up at the right time. To do with sounding the light language, I haven't been able to with a baby or a dog yet. My sister has a dog and I'm going to see her tomorrow. So the dog and I will go outside, I think, right? And I haven't done it with a tree either, but I have done it outside in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find that it flows much more easily for me.
It does.
Particularly when there's nobody else around or that I can see, right? And then I kind of feel that it sort of, I guess the word is, it's like it erupts from me.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely more, I mean, just sounds with no words or anything.
Yep.
So that seems to be what comes up.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know when I'm going to see a baby, but well, anyway, I shall keep going.
You don't have to do it with a baby, a dog, or a tree. They were
Oh,
examples
just
of
different.
suggestions. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you don't have to do it with a baby. It's just you can do it with a cat, you could do it with a bird, you can do it with any animal. But I was just giving
Okay.
suggestions.
I have birds through my window, you know.
You can do it.
Okay.
Do it with
Yeah.
a bird.
Okay.
Yeah, birds are great to do it with. It's it's examples of letting your soul language come out, because animals recognize soul language very easily. And so they're much more receptive to it than the human mind, because the human mind doesn't recognize the soul language very quickly. So sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't.
So I haven't done the code yet. I've blocked some time on Sunday to do that after our Trinity meeting. And then, and I remember how to do it from before too. So hopefully one sitting or more, we'll see how that comes to me.
Yep.
And then the other thing was that it?
Mm-hmm.
No, there was something else. Oh,
Faith.
I know it.
Faith.
Yes, that was to do with my divine presence. So I did sit with that, and it was interesting what came up. So I definitely did work with that, doing the 6 steps. And I found that it was my etheric body where this karma was, which was sort of interesting to me, because I guess I hadn't expected that.
Yeah, there's a distortion in a blueprint in the etheric.
Yeah, that's what, I realized. So I did that, and so felt better about it.
Good.
Whenever I do. And I do, though, I mean, I know very much that my divine presence is here, because, you know, I can actually feel it there. So I keep going.
Keep going.
Like Christine.
Thank you, beautiful heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Colin, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. Again, apologies, just internet issues today.
Oh, okay. I thought it was getting out of bed so early.
No. I just couldn't connect, and I'm actually hotspotting off my phone at the moment just to connect.
Okay.
So, and even that I battle. But
do you want to turn your
sorry?
video off?
No, it seems to be okay. But I'm all right. Firstly, the study work. We had a wonderful meeting, and that's with Harnell and with Melissa.
Good.
Where we each sounded. What my takeaway from that, or my experience there rather, is when we started, each one of us, it was a similar kind of experience. It was a little bit tacky in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it would just take on a very different, because I think, using Christine's words, I think the mind cleared.
Yep, that's it.
And then we just went in, and the whole energy and the level of the sounding just changed completely. And it was just the most beautiful experience that we had. And I would suggest that all 3 of us went quite deeply, but I mean, obviously they can talk for themselves. I certainly felt I went to a different place with the sounding. In other words, I really wasn't thinking about it. And also the speed of it increased as well. It just flowed faster out of me.
Good.
Which they said they picked up that energy. I practiced it on my grand dog.
Oh, right. Good.
And she's a Frenchie, most gorgeous little animal. Love her. So I was in my study sitting on my chair, and she walked into the study, and I thought, great opportunity, because we were dog sitting. And I just kind of breathed a little bit, and then I started sounding. And then her ears would like pop up. and then the ears would go back, and then she'd be twisting her head and looking at me like this, and I could see she, because it felt as though there was just a strong connection. She was there, she was just present.
Yeah.
And then when I'd finished, she actually turned around and sat right next to me, like when I say next to me, I was on the chair still, but right next to me. She just lay there for a while. So that was my experience of doing it with the dog. It was actually, I could feel the connection. It was I just felt it was wonderful. The code, I wasn't sure if we were supposed to send the code to you. I've done it.
Oh, good. Yeah. Put it on Messenger if you can.
Oh, okay. I got it. The message was interesting. The mantra was, the essence of life lies in the wisdom rather than the knowledge.
That's very appropriate for you.
Yes. And it's interesting, because, working with the divine presence, and I suppose, like Catherine said, I just feel my divine presence there. I've been the other night, an individual was really getting to me. And the other night I got into bed and I just called in my divine presence. And I said, please help me with this. And the answer simply came as shift your energy, shift your focus. And I went to sleep. And the next morning, I noticed that my energy with this person, when I met with them, had changed. And that whole interaction between the two of us was now completely different. So what it was all about, clearly, as we all know, but with, it's always practicing what we preach, is I needed to shift my polarity of my energy, because I was having expectations how that person should be reacting, responding, doing things. And every time that expectation or belief was not being met, I was then getting antsy with this person. And clearly my energy was reflecting back at that person, because the friendship between the two of us was kind of getting distorted. So that was, and I just went back to my words, as I say, of my divine presence is shift your energy. And I did. And then I thought, oh, that was a good session if we had today, or meeting we had today. And it was just great. And then I got another message from my divine presence as well. It is not the strength of the mind, but the wisdom of what you receive that creates the shift into oneness.
Wow, beautiful.
And that was, again, very apt for me.
Yeah, one you can read a few times, that one. You want
to
say it again?
Yes. It is not the strength of the mind, but the wisdom of what you receive that creates the shift into oneness.
Yeah. And that's very true. So true, that one. Yeah.
So I've been having fun.
Good. That's a really good one, Colin, isn't it? Because we tend to try and use our mind to create shifts and changes within our being or our reality, and we don't understand that until we go deeper and get out of our mind. That's when we really have the change or the transformation. It doesn't happen through the mind work. We want it to, but it won't happen through the mind work. We just keep going around the same circle. Beautiful. I like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's Colin. Thank you, Colin. Thank you. We're going to go to Eureka. You're next on the list. If you're there, where's Eureka?
Hi, Ishtar.
Hi, beautiful. Hello.
I have met with Marianne. I think Marianne is on the line. And we did actually connected together and did the channeling. We're a bit behind the schedule, the homework, but we are doing the homework. We did the channeling together a few weeks ago, and that went for me, for the both of us, good. However, there was some thing there that I forgot to record the channel that we did together, and because of the direct channel I received, I couldn't remember what I was channeling. I wasn't able to share with Marianne afterwards what it was about. But
So it wasn't meant to be shared. It was fine.
Yep. Yes, I felt it deeply, and also such an expansion from my side. However, from Marianne's side, maybe she can share afterwards.
Yeah.
Also, her experience. She did. She couldn't hear. I mean, she got knocked out.
Yeah.
Some part of it, so she couldn't. I think she received the frequency, but she couldn't hear what was being said actually. We did the light language. I did it myself. I think we did it separately and not yet together as a body. So that's something that we can follow up. What else?
I think that's going to work really well for both of you to practice with. I think it's really important that both of you practice with that light language together. You know, you really do a few sessions together, just doing light language together, just sounding together, and really listening to each other's souls. I think this is a really beautiful gift, because that's what light language is about. Listen to each other's soul without mental stuff. Yeah, and practice it.
I start to do the light language as well here at home, and I have a lot of plans, and I do notice the difference and how it shifts the frequency around the house as well, and as well as walking in the nature or outside. I haven't done it with the dog or particular person in front, but I would like to try it out with a dog that I'm keeping once in a week. So that would be interesting to discover more about it.
That'll be good. Yeah.
Yes. I started to do my my code. I still need to finish it. This is something that I have here. I don't know if you can see it. Still need to finish
Yes, good.
the coloring, and I have been looking at it this week, and colors are coming through my visions, and other codes and glyphs are also coming through. Probably once I get to sit with it, then it will finalize and complete the work with the mantra. So I'm very excited and looking forward to complete it soon and to share it with everyone.
Thank you. Did you tune in about your faith, about divine faith?
I haven't done it as I wanted to. However, I have been doing I have been guided to do the genetic and as well as the physical, along with the mental body.
All
just
right.
like
Oh,
that.
good. Yep.
Yeah. And I have been connecting a few times the physical. I can feel a lot. That's a lot going and happening on with my physical, and I started doing the physical along with other bodies as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Eureka.
Just looking at the codes, actually, I definitely will tune into the divine faith and wisdom. And what I received as well this week, Ishtar, is in connection with divine faith. While I was doing the code, I think that was also something that I remember during your teaching. I don't know if it was from the caretaker. It's kind of an understanding about divine faith to wisdom, and the wisdom was aligning my divine will to the divine will of my divine presence.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was just like, yeah, align your divine will and point, but I was missing out something like, well, is it then divine will to source? But it's actually coming back to me again, like you mentioned in previous teaching, that divine will is aligned to the divine to your divine presence.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And that we are actually aligned to source, therefore we are source.
Yes.
So that kind of open up a lot to me in all senses, and I say yes. That resonates to me a lot. Aligning my divine will to the will of my divine presence.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good aha. That's good. It's a good aha.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Eureka.
You're welcome.
Oh no. You're up next.
Hello, everyone. I misunderstood the code because I received something when we were in the meditation about what faith was. And so that's what I used as my intention. So I will just have to redo that, because one of the things I received was that the universe will deliver. So I used that as my intention.
Yep. Show us. I know.
So I did the letters
Yeah.
on one in one movement, and so I'll do it again with the wording, you know,
But do that
the
one
letters
as well.
that are in the manual.
Do that one as well, Hannah.
Okay.
Complete that one as well, because obviously you were guided to do that one. So do that one. There's nothing wrong with doing it.
Okay.
I do want you all to do the intention of divine faith and wisdom in one code, but do that one as well. So you can work with 2 codes. You can work with lots of codes. So
Yeah. True.
yeah.
True.
I put that one out there as well. That'd be nice to see that one unfolds with that. And the divine universe, that's a big one to put out there as your intention. The divine universe, what is it? The universe delivers? Is that what you say?
No, it was that is to let go of control. The universe will deliver exactly what is required in any moment.
That's right.
That's what I received. So I just took the, universe will deliver as a...
And that's the big thing about faith, you see. We want to control what the universe delivers because we don't have faith that the universe will deliver what we want, because the universe doesn't deliver what we want. It delivers what is needed, what is in the highest potential, and that's not always what we want, because often what we want is our lower potential. So that's why it's so connected to faith, what you received. So yeah. And so often we fear what the universe will deliver, and so we step in to try and control it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
And I think that resonated with what I've been receiving over the recent weeks in a way, which sort of links in with the I don't know whether it's a lack of faith, but I suppose it is, but this letting go of how I think I should move forward.
Yep.
And just opening up to what then comes up, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, to guide.
And letting that bubble up really and letting it flow. And it's a sort of real paradox, because on one sense that's working really well.
Yeah.
And then there's another line where it's just like, no. And so I'm trying to receive that more. And it's almost just sort of saying, we don't want to connect. And it's quite, at the moment, at any rate, it's quite sort of impenetrable. I'm sitting with it, and I can feel it. It does have a fear mixed in it, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the moment, it's not really. Anyway, I'm just sitting with it at the moment and accepting it and letting it, sort of working with it without trying to say, we're going to do this,
And that's the right way.
But not letting it sort of have that means I don't never do it. So there's a sort of, but it's
Well, now just in your quiet observations with this part of you, because it's a shadow part, that's obviously quite powerful. Just watch where it comes up, where it gets triggered. Just see if you can go into that and find where it's sort of the link to where it goes back to. There's something, there'll be something that happens in your life, or something that you're trying to do, or asking yourself to do, or you're asked to do, where it gets triggered, whether it be just to follow guidance. Just listen to it a little bit from time to time, and just see where it comes up very powerfully, because it'll lead you back to what its real cause or issue is, if you just observe that. And what you're doing is just letting it bubble away and sit there, but just observing it.
I mean, what I've observed so far is that when I'm doing, like, with the body work and all of this, it's really not present. And even doing the toning, it's not present. I love doing the toning, the sounding, and as Colin said, it was a great session we all had. But I have noticed, out of all of the things I offer to people, I've not mentioned the Magdalene work to anyone.
Okay.
I'm sort of like, and I sort of mentioned, I mentioned it to one the other day, just to sort of see what would happen within me, in a way. But that the harmonizer work and the aspect work, not a problem. But I haven't even sort of said, this is something I'm starting or doing. So I just sort of thought, okay, well, there's something in that.
It's the channeling work.
And
It's the channeling work.
Yeah. So
that's okay.
I will sit with it and carry on sort of receiving it, really, and, like you say, try and see what a trigger is.
Just sit with that part. Maybe I mean, we do understand that we have been Magdalenes before. This is not the first experience you're having of being a Magdalene. And on the earth, the humanity's not always been kind to Magdalenes or to children. So that part of you may have had a very traumatic experience, and so it doesn't want to open up to that again.
So
I mean, just imagine if,
otherwise,
I always think, it's funny, people, just imagine if Jeshua the Nazarene turned up again, or Buddha turned up again on the planet at the moment, what we'd really do with them. And or Mary Magdalene turned up and said, hey, so I'm wondering what it's
that paradox, really. We all want that guidance, and we want that sort of person that has got that wisdom, but if they were there, would we like what they said? Or
Well, this comes back to what I was saying about the karma that we hold as a collective. You know, we're so trapped in that karmic wheel. We have created such density with our karma that at this point, no matter whether we would want somebody, you know, we'd want a Buddha or a Jeshua or someone to step forward and guide us, we would be very resistant to it because of the karma we hold.
That was one thing that came up actually, was what's the point?
Yeah.
That was one thing that I did write down, I remember now.
Well, you know, there's a big point, because there's lots of work for you to do, and you're being called to do, and how you choose to do it is going to be important in the coming times. So.
Yeah, I feel it's got a lot of value to. So you could say I've shifted from where before I might have felt bad about feeling bad or something, where now I just think, no, there is something really of value in this when it is ready to unpack, and maybe it will give me more stability, maybe it will give me more trust in myself, all of those type of things will unpack through this resistance, because it's all knotted up together somehow.
Yeah, definitely. That's why, just as you're observing, just watch where it gets triggered, where it really comes up. And obviously this shadow is not being present in some of your work, which because it doesn't want to get involved in it, but in other areas it will get triggered. So have a look and see what happens.
Okay.
And what's causing that.
Thank
Just
you.
become a little bit watchful of it, because you'll see it. You'll start to see, oh, when I'm doing this energy comes up within me, you know.
Yes.
You know,
so just notice what is the trigger,
just
as in a different trigger.
Start to become observant.
Is my little cat with us? Look.
Did you do some toning with the cat? Did you do your light language with the cat?
No, I haven't yet. I will do.
Oh, cats love it.
I do it more with trees.
No, do it with your cat.
What do you think? Would you like that?
There you go. Do it with your cat. She'll love it.
Yeah.
She wants, you know, the animals want to connect with your soul. They're really open to connect with soul expression. It's really important. So do it with your cat.
Yes.
Thanks, Halnal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ishtar.
We're going to Marianne now.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, as Erika said, we have been connecting, I think, 3 times altogether so far. Last time last week, and she did this beautiful channel, and he was not there, and I have no idea what she said, but I was back immediately as soon as it was finished, like switch on, off, and when I listened inside, I could feel it. How to say that in English? It was tingling everywhere, as after meditation, where I don't usually hear a word. But I know it's been working, because it's tingling out everywhere, but it's most frustrating. And I mean, I don't know if I'm easily hypnotized or whatever. I mean, even listening here, now it's okay, but for a while I nearly zoomed out again while listening to everybody here. This is really a big problem for me.
Well, it's a shadow. It's the shadow. It's a shadow that's in resistance. So you really need to do what Hanal's doing, is really observe where this, you know, it's really obvious for you where it gets triggered, but it's actually in control. It's overpowering you. So maybe you and Eureka might need to do a bit of work on that shadow. So how much work have you done on it so far?
Well, Eureka has been doing channeling. We were supposed to meet this week, so I would do a channel, but from what I understand, we'll need to practice light language. And
now, that wasn't the question. I'm coming back to you again with that. How much karmic work have you done with this shadow to release it?
It is difficult for me to come. So I'm working with Bernadette with Universal Healing Ray sessions and what I put in there, just whatever is for my highest in the moment. So I'm not sure if this is how I should go about it.
No,
Counting on.
you need to do the 6 steps.
Yeah.
You know, you need to actually go in and do the 6 steps with this. This is why it's so important for you to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to bring this shadow into the 6 steps and do the decree with this, you know, the decree to release its control,
Yeah.
to release
Yeah.
its fear, to identify those things. If you don't work with it, nothing's going to shift. So, and it's just going to stay frustrating for you. So, yeah.
I can't see how I can find out what actually triggers it. I know as soon as somebody speaks, it's sometimes I manage to stay a long time. Sometimes it's nearly immediately I just get knocked out.
Well,
And this has been going for over 20 years.
I can tell you what triggers it.
Yes, please.
Frequency triggers it.
Yes.
Frequency work triggers it, which is channel work. Any channel work triggers it. Meditation triggers it. You connecting to your higher self or anybody else's higher self triggers it. So it's all about a connection to the divine within you and the divine. So it's all about that, which is also about what we're working with, is faith and that divine faith and wisdom. This is what's triggering it. Every time you're opening to that at a deep level, or somebody else's divine essence, it gets triggered. So it doesn't want to open to that connection. And so it just shuts you down. So you're not actually able to receive that. So what would cause that would have to be a big fear. So there has to be some sort of fear in this that it's holding, that's creating that shutdown within you. And the thing is, it's obviously been there for a long time because it's actually controlling you, and it's not, you've got no power over this. It's actually, you're allowing it to shut you down. So it's got a very big fear of whatever that might be. So you really need to work with this part of you. You really need to see it as a consciousness, a separate aspect of yourself, and start really acknowledging this part that is in fear. And this is the karmic work that you really need to do. So because unless you do that work, nothing's going to shift for you with this. It's just going to keep going. And therefore it's going to, what happens with this, Marianne, is it actually stops you going deeply into the work. And no matter what you're doing at this time, it will stop you having that deep connection. And that's what it's doing. So because it's asking, it doesn't want you to be conscious of what you're doing, because it makes you unconscious.
It does, yeah. It's not meditation, because when I was at work, at the office, there were presentations, and as soon as somebody would start speaking, and it was with their head, it was nothing to do with meditation, it was IT stuff. Boom, I was out.
Oh, okay. So it happens in other instances. Well, then perhaps it's a shadow part of you that doesn't want to hear what other people have to say. No,
Yeah.
seriously, it doesn't want to listen.
Yes. Especially
want to
as this stuff did not interest me at that time at all, and never has. But what we are discussing here, that greatly interests me.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't want you to listen. It doesn't want to listen. And we're not talking about your personality. We're talking about your shadow that actually has control over you. It's very, very powerful because it knocks you out like this. So it's actually been in control of you for quite some time, and I'd say this lifetime and others. So it couldn't be this powerful if it hasn't been in control for a long time. So it obviously doesn't want to listen to what's being shared with it on any level. It doesn't want you to learn, because this is, when we go into channel, it's about learning. Doesn't want you to grow, and doesn't, even at work, if it's doing that at work as well, if it's not just frequency, then it's a shadow that doesn't want to listen. So maybe you need to go back to 20 years ago when it first got triggered and see what was happening then. And you really do need to work with this shadow that doesn't want to listen. Maybe it's part of your inner child that throws a tantrum and says, I don't want to listen, I don't want to learn, I don't want to know anything. And it just shuts you down. So it could be that. But you do need to do some work with it. Yeah. This is a great opportunity, Marianne, in this,
yes.
in this course to really do the work with this, and and to help that part of you to go back to light. And, you know, I'm not sure what it is, but somebody, you know, could sit with you. But I think the thing is you have to do it. Once again, no one else can do this for you. You have to make a big connection to this part of you. You have to recognize it, honor it, and start to observe it when it's happening. So it starts to know that you're actually watching it, you know, and not just allowing it to control you all the time. So you really have to make a step to, you know, make a decision to actually do something about this part of you. And
well, if I want to go further, then this is what I have to do now.
Yeah, I really.
see
This is the karmic work, you know. This is all part of our karmic work. And as students, you know, with this course and the work that I teach, we have to be doing our karmic work every week, you know. So it's so important to be doing that. So you know, this is, and it's something only you can do. You can't get someone else to do it for you, you know, this particularly. Once you recognize it and you really understand it, someone can guide you and help you, but you already know how to do the karmic work. So it's important to really learn how to do this karmic work yourself, because it's going to be there for you your whole life. So, you know, and this is.
I think it's enough. It's enough. No, something needs to be done about it.
About honoring this part of you, and maybe it is, you know, part of you know, go back 20 years. I have a sense that it's actually part of your inner child that just shutting you down. Maybe it's more than 20 years ago. Maybe you just don't, you know, as a child, you didn't want to hear what people had to say. You didn't want to learn. Think about how you were at school. Did you really want to learn? Was there something that you didn't want to learn?
I just wanted to be away.
You didn't want to be at school?
If the teachers were teachers whom I liked, then no problem. But otherwise, I mean, I was 3 years old when I took off the first time from home. So.
Okay, well, that might have a lot to do with it, because this is a shadow that's been with you not just in this lifetime. It's to have this sort of power. It's been with you in other lifetimes. So, I'd say it's played out with you when you were a child. So there may be some inner child work might be really appropriate to do. To work with this part of you that doesn't want to learn, doesn't want to listen, because it's shutting you down. Because this is what it's doing. It shuts you down so you don't listen.
Yeah.
And when you don't listen, you don't learn. Yeah. And it'll be impacting you in your work as well. You'll see that.
Well, I started my healing practice 6 months ago, and I'm basically there where I was supposed to be after 1 year, and it's working great. And I can observe very easily when I channel, actually, by sensing what's happening in the other person, or when I get, how to say that, when I get information from my higher self, from the person's higher self, I can very easily make the difference of this. It works great.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say there's something going on there, though.
Yeah.
And even with your healing work, there'll be something going on. It'll affect you in your healing work as well. Maybe you're not at the moment, but it will. Yeah. So you really do need to work with this part of you, you know. So.
Well, that's the next step.
Yeah. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. Melissa, are you there? We're going to go to Melissa.
Unmute myself. Hi, Esther. Morning, everyone. So like Harnell and Colin said about our buddy work, like I really, I really enjoyed the session and just hearing their light language. I felt I did more toning. So they really did, I felt, was, you know, the light language coming from their soul. And I think because I didn't really understand, it's only since I've done this course, Ishta, that I'm understanding I've heard about light language. So after our session, which was great, and I really just I really went out there and
Good.
Really felt deeply affected after our session from the toning, but we did the channeling as well, and now I understand that we probably weren't meant to do that at that time. Yeah, but so I went away and I went on the internet and I was having a look at what light languages. And that's just me, you know. I'm like, oh, I need to discover this more and see what it's about. And yeah, but and then I did a little bit of practice at home as well, and I found I was doing more toning-ish stuff. And I guess it was what it was, and I've just got to keep practicing it.
Just
And hope, yeah.
Just opening up, you know, and you know, just let it really flow for you. It'll really shift the more you practice, because the more you open, you're opening a gateway, and you know, you're letting a little bit through at the moment, but the more you do it, the more will come. You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you know, so just practice. You know, doing light language all the time. I know when I first opened mine up, I used to do it all the time, and you know, everywhere. So. And it just expands, but it's so important. And the other thing is to understand with light language is that you're allowing that part of your soul to express itself, but then eventually a part of you, usually a higher self part, will start to use its light language through you, and it actually has a meaning, it has a purpose. So you know, I discovered that when I open up my light language, it's always ancient prayers. It's ancient prayers. So when I do light language, I'm actually sounding ancient prayers. So because there's a part of me that is very much that temple keeper that sounded ancient prayers, and so it's bringing through ancient prayers. They're Venusian ancient prayers. So, but that took a long time for me to understand that. But the thing is, you will each bring through light language that will have a purpose, that will actually activate something. So really allow it to flow through. You know, it won't be ancient prayers for everybody, but it might be something that activates some cellular function, or maybe one of the energy bodies, or lots of different things that you could be, you know, that it does. And it will have a purpose of some sort, that your light language is doing something, whatever it might be. You know, you might just be to activate the consciousness of the trees and open the connection. It could be to activate the starseed energy within people. It could be, there's so much, you know, potential for what it could be. So just let it continue to flow, because at some stage you will open up. It took me a few years to understand what mine was, but my soul told me, but I had to really come to a place where I was allowing it to be, you know, so without questioning it, without doubting it. So once again, faith, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I was also aware of resistance with just doing the sound and letting it out, and it was interesting, the memories that were coming up. I guess growing up, being in a Maori culture, we were always using sound, singing and sound to connect with who we were, and our language as well. And I hadn't really opened that up.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, I really had shut down, because I used to really enjoy singing and sound, and be up the front, you know, of our family. And yeah, so it's interesting how I didn't realize I'd actually shut that down.
Yeah.
And there was resistance in letting that sound out. Yeah, so that was interesting, really interesting.
Perhaps yours will come through with a very big connection to the ancestors. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, I don't have, not at this time, have a pet, so I will one day get another animal again. So I went out into nature, and I did the sounding with, it's more toning with a tree, and and I'm always connecting with nature now and the trees and that. So I found it really interesting and made sure, you know, no one was around when I was doing this. Yeah, and I really felt, and I closed my eyes and I let the sound just flow, and I could feel the energy from nature, from the tree that I was standing in front of, and just a real soft vibration and softness. So like I was doing a meditation.
Good, yeah.
Well,
you are.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Well, yes, yeah.
Your doorway.
Yeah, it was really.
Gateway, yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, also, what else have we done? So I just started. I only over the last couple of days I've started doing the looking at the where I'm holding resistance with my divine presence, and interesting enough, I seem to be getting a lot of visions of karmic times coming up, and that's interesting because I haven't really experienced that before. I've done your course, and so the memory that was coming up was clear to me, where I had shut my listening to my divine presence down. And yeah, and that karmic memory had actually come up, I don't know, 9 months ago, when I was doing your course, Ishtra. And so I thought, I thought I'd worked with that. You know, I thought I'd cleared that.
We all say that.
Up again.
I thought I'd done that.
I went, okay, right, it's still there.
Yeah.
Still got to go deeper. So yeah, so I've just started doing some clearing with that, doing some karmic work with that.
Good, excellent. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and so with my code, I really enjoyed it. Really had fun doing my code because I like being creative, and things were flowing very nicely. But when we first started, when you started this morning, Ishta, did you say that you wanted us to go off what you had put in our workbook? So the divine faith and wisdom, is that what you wanted us? You did, didn't you? Okay, all right. So I need to change mine.
No, do what you've done. Do what you've done. That's not wrong. Just continue doing what you've done, and then do another one, divine faith and wisdom. Because obviously your souls or your guidance has been asking you to do the one you're doing. So
yeah,
you know, I trust always guidance. So just follow that.
Yes.
And then
right.
Then do what I'm asking you to do, which is just divine faith.
Okay.
So
yeah, all right. Yeah. So the one that I did was have faith and surrender to the divine.
Beautiful.
And I don't know if you can see mine. The coloring's not very clear, but I'll bring it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit light.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I've done, and I'll send it through to you.
When you do the next one, see how you've got all your letters together like that.
Yeah.
Do what I've done, or do what Hanal did. Break them up and make them the design. Yeah.
Move them around.
Yeah. Don't lift your pen off the paper though. You need to keep it all connected, but make it fill the whole paper, and
right,
becomes the basis of your design.
Okay. Yep. No, I understand. Yep.
Yeah, it becomes the basis. Okay. It becomes embedded in the design. The intention becomes embedded in the design, and then you channel the rest of it around, within that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We are going to go on now, and I think that's everyone. Yeah, I haven't forgotten anyone. No, good. We're going to now go on and just get on with the lesson, because we do have a little bit to cover, and I don't want to... Hold on, I've got to open this up first. Sorry about that. It's not opened up. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, no, I can't do that either. What's going on? Sorry, I got confused with my technology. It's just getting up too early. I'm sure that's what it's about. Okay. So I need now to bring this into slideshow. Okay. So we're going to continue. See, that's what I meant, Melissa. Just don't take your pen off the paper, but really spread your letters out. However your pen's guided to flow. So we're talking now, this was part of the last lesson, but we're just going to go on with it. It's so important for the channel to really recognize that their body is their vehicle for their channel. It's what is holding their channel and making it be available and present on the earth. So it's about really see that your physical form is revered by your spirit, because it's its vehicle. So it really honors your physical form and sees your physical form in its perfection, because spirit, the essence of you, your presence, really sees that the physical body is a reflection of all that is in each microscopic cellular function. I mean, the physical body is the most incredible creation. The human physical body, any physical body, anything. And it is, its little mini universe. So it's very important for you to understand that every part of you holds consciousness in the physical form. Every single cell of your body is conscious and holds consciousness. And every part of you is connected to the creation force of Source. So when we do channel, when we activate and do and offer you an embodied channel from the masters, you're receiving alchemy, which touches every cell of your body, if you allow it. And this alchemy brings, once again, like those intentional codes, brings intention to your cells, enlivens your cells, illuminates your cells, magnifies what's sitting in your cells that shouldn't be sitting in your cells, wants to bring that to your attention so you do something about it. So it creates energy for you. It'll create something for you to look at that you're not looking at, and it will illuminate that or magnify it for you wherever it's sitting in your body. And it will also activate the consciousness that your cells hold and illuminate that consciousness. So be conscious of that, because you too are an embodied channel. We are working as embodied channels, and this is what you're going to be doing. That what you bring through is going to affect people's physical bodies as much as it affects yours. Every single cell. It affects consciousness. It affects sentient consciousness. So every Magdalene is asked to honor and accept your physical form. It's so important, because everything you do through your channel is connected to every cell in your body. So I just want you to close your eyes for a minute, just for a minute, and just connect with that beautiful physical body of yours. And just connect with all the cells of your body and really understand that every single cell is conscious. Every single cell holds divine light. And every time you open your channel and allow the consciousness of presence or of your higher self to flow through you, it affects and touches every single cell of your body. If you are really opening your channel. Now, if you open your channel a little bit, it only touches a little bit of your cellular function. If you open your channel fully, and if you allow your higher self to embody you, then it's going to embody your whole body. And that frequency of light that your higher self or your presence holds touches every cell of your being. So just imagine that for a minute. Are you allowing your channel to fully open in your body, or are you just letting a little trickle come through? And just see how it affects your cells. Just become conscious of that in your being. Become conscious. Because your channel will affect, when you embody your higher self or your presence and start sharing your channel, as many of you are already doing, it will actually affect, that frequency is going to affect the consciousness that sits in other people's body. And it will magnify and illuminate whatever energy is held, whether it be shadow energy or light energy. So just be aware of that. So you're asked to accept your physical perfection because your body was created in physical perfection. It is the vehicle of your divine spirit. And so you're asked to love and accept your body. It's the vehicle. Without your body, you wouldn't be here. It's just as simple as that. When the body dies, the spirit is no longer in matter, no longer in this realm. Often when we come into our physical form, we choose to create our reality for ourselves that denies our divine perfection in the physical. And this is an illusion. How many times over your lifetime have you looked in the mirror and wished you looked like somebody else, or wish your body was different? Judged your body. Yet if you choose to hold on to this illusion as your truth, then it is very hard for you to allow your divine channel to flow through your physical self, because you are dishonoring the vehicle of your spirit. So you are being asked to really honor the vehicle of your spirit. When your mind holds beliefs and programs that are filled with distrust, which is why we were working with faith and trust in the last lesson, then this energy creates dysfunction for you on earth. When there are expectations and attachments held in your mind, then there are always agreements and belief systems that you hold that will create limitation and disappointment. So we have agreements and belief systems of how your body should be, what your body should look like, what it should do or what it shouldn't do. You know, I always wanted to be Superwoman. I wanted to be able to fly. I was always so disappointed that I couldn't fly. There was, you know, one of those things when I was a kid. And I had a belief system we should all be able to fly. When there is limitation and disappointment, it's impossible to open your heart and sit in love and accept all that is and all that you are, because you're constantly wanting something to be different, not the way it is. So you're asked to accept what is, accept yourself. I like this sign. It says, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And it's true, because your spirit is in you. Your spirit is in this body. It's not in anyone else's body, it's in this body. Everyone else's body already has their spirit in it. So when the mind chooses not to accept what is, then all choices you make are based on the illusion of what might be, what could be, and what should be. And really, Magdalenes have to let this go. If you're still stuck in what could be, what should be, what might be, let it go, because you're living in lack. You're living in resistance, you're living in illusion. When you accept that which you are able to connect with the infinite wisdom and create divine union with all that is. When this occurs, then all separation energy is acknowledged as an illusion. So whenever separation energy comes up for you, you will realize it's simply your illusion and you're creating it. You know? And so we cannot connect with our divine presence when we're trapped in energy or consciousness of separation, no matter what it's about. We're not here to be creating separation consciousness. There's enough of that already on the planet. We don't need more. So take care of your body. Your physical body is the vehicle of your divine channel. You need to take good care of it. This includes regular exercise, a deep connection with Mother Earth through nature and animals, a healthy diet, free of foods that drop your vibration. So it's about free of anything that drops your vibration, free of anything that brings you into separation. So do exercise that raises your vibration, whatever that might be for you. It's going to be different for every one of us. We all have different bodies. Our bodies need different things. You know, if you're walking through nature, don't walk with your earphones plugged in and listen to podcasts or music or talk on the phone. Actually walk through nature and connect. When you're connecting with animals, actually really connect. Connecting with Mother Earth, really connect. Don't be distracted. Don't be in separation. Connect. When you're eating, eat high vibrational foods. Don't eat low vibrational foods. And it's the same thing with where you put yourself. Don't go to places or be involved in energy that drops your vibration into separation. Magdalenes have to be very careful of this. You want to channel? You can't channel if you're constantly allowing yourself to be surrounded by energy that drops your vibration. So avoid electromagnetic rays, and that's hard today, but use things in your house and your body that protects you from electromagnetic rays, but also protect yourself from people and places that drop your vibration. Anywhere that's full of separation consciousness, let it go. You know, that includes social media, TV, films, you know, groups, organizations, wherever there is a consciousness of separation. Don't let yourself get involved because it'll drop your vibration too. Yes, Arnal?
When you say electromagnetic rays, is that like Wi-Fi, or what does that mean?
Well, you know, excuse me, we teach about the electromagnetic spectrum, which X-rays, Wi-Fi, you know, all the G's, you know, all your mobile phones. So, you know, you don't want your mobile phone constantly by your bed. You don't want your mobile phone constantly in your hand. You know, keep everyone's living with their mobile phone in their ear all the time. I mean, they might as well just have it attached. I mean, you know, if you're worried about electromagnetic rays, you won't have a phone, you know, constantly in your hand all the time because it's going to affect your field. You don't live near mobile towers, you know, things like that. Just be very conscious and, you know, get the things, you know, the different tools that we can use to stop electromagnetic rays coming into our house and things like that, you know. So I've got
thank you.
I've got a little cube I use that's sitting behind me actually over here. It's called a Tesla cube, and that gives me 90 meters all around my house. So because I don't want that vibration. I've also got what are those other things called? You know, I have things around me that I have on my modem and stuff like that because we're very connected to all this. But I also don't live with my phone next to my bed or near my head, or you know, I avoid those things. I have something in my car that protects me from electromagnetic rays because there's so much of it today. So it's very hard to avoid it. But as a channel, it's going to interfere with your channel. So really be conscious of that. And it's the same thing with energy, you know, with people and energy. Don't let yourself sit in that separation energy for too long. You know, it's I just stop it. I had someone come here yesterday to do some work. They were cleaning up my pond, my fish pond, And he came in, and the next minute he's talking to me about his beliefs on climate change and his beliefs on COVID and his beliefs on this and his beliefs on that. And he's just talking at me with all this negative energy, with all this separation energy. And I just say, can we just stop for a minute? Because he didn't draw breath. And I said, can we just come back to the pond? Oh, I don't want to talk about the pond. I've been doing this for 30 years. I want to talk about this. This is much more interesting. I said, well, I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about this. This is not a conversation that I want to have with you. I want you to talk about the pond that's in front of you. I had to keep bringing him back to the fish and the pond and the fountain, because it's energy that actually is creating an expansion consciousness, not a limited consciousness. So, you know, and then he said, then he got it and he went, oh, I'm sorry, I did. And I said, well, that's all right, but you know, it's just not the energy I want to sit in. And I've become a lot more conscious of that these days. I don't want to sit in that energy. I don't want to have that energy, you know, projected at me all the time. It doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve him, but it doesn't serve me, and I don't need it. So I have a choice of what energy I allow to be present. You know, it's a choice. And if you want to be a channel, you need to choose that. You know, when I first started channeling, I had to change my diet. I had to change lots of things that I did, you know, and it was a big shift for me, because I'd been, you know, working in the corporate world for a long time. So I had to change. I had to stop eating meat. I had to stop alcohol. I had to, you know, I'd already stopped coffee, but there was lots of things I had to change. And I also had to change where I put myself. I couldn't be in, you know, I just couldn't be in energy that was in separation. I had to be really conscious of that. And I had a lot of training with the masters about where I put my energy. So, and they constantly reminded me that it's a choice. So you really have to be aware of that. And it's not about judgment. It's not about judging anybody. I mean, people are in separation. That's fine. But it's not about judging them and saying, you know, oh, your energy is terrible. It's simply saying, I choose to be in energy that's not in separation. That's what it's saying. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not about judging anybody else, because everyone has the right to create their own reality. And you can allow anybody to create their own reality. But you also have a choice to make of whether you want to sit in that reality. What reality do you want to sit in? And that's the choice. So the masters ask every divine channel, this is if you want to really become an embodied channel of your higher consciousness, to assist humanity to see the divine truth of their perfection. But this is very challenging for a Magdalene that does not see this in themselves and focus what they lack in the physical form. So if you're constantly focusing on what you lack, what you don't have, then when you work with someone else, that energy is always going to be there. You're going to be looking at what they lack. You know, I've seen this happen so often in healers. They're constantly focusing on what somebody lacks, what they don't have, instead of what they do have. They don't focus on their gifts. They focus on what needs to be fixed, what's missing. So an embodied channel needs to awaken. And it took me a long time to learn that with the masters. It took me a long time to learn that. So, and many schools teach it too. They teach you how to focus on lack all the time. What's missing? What needs to be fixed? Let's fix this. Let's change this. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to focus on the gifts, on the divine that is present. And it's always present. And that's much more challenging to see that in yourself and in others. So your mind is always disappointment when its attachments and expectations are not delivered. So when you're holding attachments and expectations of how life should be, then you will always be living in disappointment. So it's suggested that you take time to ask yourself what you believe about your physical self and also your physical life, not just your body, but your whole physical life, and what you expect your physical life or your reality should or should not be. Are you honoring your physical self? Are you accepting and loving your physical self? Are you nurturing your physical self as the divine temple of your spirit? Because whatever reality you're creating in your physical body and your physical consciousness, your physical reality, is the reality you're asking your spirit to step into. So spirit will be unable to step into a very low vibrational frequency and be present fully. Because we have to raise our frequency to meet the spirit, the frequency of spirit. So if we're sitting in a low vibrational third dimensional frequency, we haven't raised our consciousness enough to meet spirit. So we actually have to expand our consciousness, which is what this work is all about. So we actually have to expand our reality that we're creating for ourselves. Remembering that every single person creates their own reality. You know, if you look at your street where you live, you've got all these houses on your street. Yeah, all your neighbours. Or if you're living in flats, you've got all these flats. Every single one houses a different reality. And if there's 4 or 5 people living in that house, then there's 4 or 5 different realities being expressed and lived in that household. And each one of them will be completely different to yours. And we have this belief at times that everyone else lives through the same reality as we do. They don't. So what reality are you creating for your physical existence? And is it a reality in which your spirit will want to be present in? Are you creating a low vibrational reality of yourself or a higher vibrational reality of yourself? So it's really important, because your body is the vehicle of your channel, to listen to your body. Listen to what it needs. Get plenty of sleep. As you open your channel more deeply, you become very sensitive to energy and its frequency. And this does happen. The physical body needs to be supported, because the high frequency energy can take its toll on a physical body that is not nurtured, healthy and cared for. So if you're not looking after your body, when you start bringing in high frequency energy, it will affect your body. Don't think it doesn't. It will affect your body. The body tells you what you need to do if you listen and follow the guidance you receive. Perhaps you'll need more sleep. Perhaps you need to drink more water. Perhaps you need to really raise the vibration of the food you're eating, you know, or where you're taking your body, you know. So it's up to you to really work that out and listen to your body, because the body needs to support your channel. It is not separate to your channel. It's the vehicle of your channel. So you might need to change your diet, as I said earlier. Maybe not eating meat. So not all channels need to stop eating meat. So don't think, oh, I've got to stop eating meat. You need to listen to your body. It will tell you. Stop drinking alcohol, caffeine or hot spices. Now, I've only just started to drink caffeine again after 20 years. So actually nearly 30 years since I've drank coffee. And I can, you know, I'm sort of enjoying it, but I need to also watch it because it's not always good on my body. So, you know, I can't do hot spices, but I know others can. So you just need to, you know, be really conscious and aware. And also, because stimulants take their toll on the physical body of a high frequency channel. Remember, your body is not the same body of others. If you're bringing through high frequency consciousness, it will affect your body, because your body's already being stimulated by all the energy that is flowing through and touching every single cell with the high frequency you're bringing through. So when you add other stimulants to that, you know, and look, even last night I was in bed lying there and I could feel my whole body vibrating as if my finger was in a socket. Now, I've become used to that over the years, but it can be very off-putting when this may start happening to you, where you're lying there and your whole body's just vibrating. And it's not always easy to sleep when that happens, but it will happen to a high frequency channel. So I don't want to put you off, but things happen to your body because they're not disconnected to your channel. You are bringing through high frequency work. Anyone who's doing universal rays, you're bringing through very high frequency consciousness. It will affect your body because you are channeling it through you. So, but you need to allow the frequency to move through you. So you may receive high levels of light frequency moving through your body, and it may keep you awake at night, particularly on powerful astrological times on Earth. And I just remember we just had a solar eclipse, so I just remembered why my body was vibrating last night, because had a massive solar eclipse, which happens. So, you know, it was like, zzz, it was like running through me. And this happens a lot. And I just realized why last night, you know. So sometimes it feels like you've been plugged into an electric socket. But don't be afraid of it, it's quite normal. But make sure you do drink lots of water, remain anchored into Mother Earth, and don't shut your channel down. The more you try and contract it, the worse it gets. Just let it flow. Just lie there and let it flow. Don't try and control it. Don't go into fear. Instead, lie down, let the energy flow, even if it feels a bit strange or uncomfortable, and just breathe deeply. It'll move through you. It'll move through you. Remember that your mind is not being asked to channel the wisdom of God. This is really important. Your mind's not being asked to channel the wisdom of God. You are being asked to open the gateway of your consciousness, the heart portal, to receive the frequency of your divine presence that holds the connection to the wisdom of God's source through the heart of oneness. You are not being asked to ask your mind to do it for you. There's a big difference. You're being asked to channel the consciousness from your divine presence. You're being asked to anchor this through your physical body into the earth planes. And this frequency is channeled through your pillar, not your mind, through your pillar. The wisdom of God's source cannot be created by your mind. So just remember that. It's not coming through your mind. It needs to flow through you. Because I still see a lot of channels still working through their mind. So open all your receptors. Channeling high frequency consciousness requires all the receptors of your physical body to open on all levels. So any separation energy held by your mind to your physical body needs to be resolved and released. Your responsibility as a Magdalene is to open and allow your lower bodies to anchor the divine energy of your presence. So the energy moves through all your higher bodies, usually without much problem. But it's only when there's karma sitting in the lower bodies that it hits density and there are blocks and it sort of starts to do this. And then in your physical body, at times you start to feel it, or you'll feel it in your emotions, because sometimes your emotions will flare up, or your mental body will go crazy and you'll have all these thoughts and stuff. But it's because the frequency is hitting that area and it's in resistance because it's holding low vibrational energy. So this is why doing the karmic clearing is so important, and not just for a year, not just for a day, not just for, you know, every now and then when you think of it, maybe once a year I might do it. This is when stuff comes up, go and do your karmic work. Because otherwise, when you try and open your frequency channel, it will resist and you'll have it affecting you in some way. So it's so important you enliven those lower bodies with light and illuminate them regularly. So doing your spiritual current is really important, because that's what it does. It helps to illuminate the lower bodies and the higher bodies, but, you know. So nourish your physical body with the foods and liquids that keep your cells healthy, because it's the cells. Remember, your cells are conscious. They are not just dormant things. They actually hold consciousness. So nourish the mind with the wisdom of divine truth, so it releases its control of the channel frequency of your divine presence. So whatever's your mind's holding on to that's controlling you in some way, work to release that. That's karmic energy. While you allow the mind to control you and to live in its illusion, then your purpose as a Magdalene remains unmanifested on earth. You won't fully be able to let that channel flow. Allow your presence to be presence. Magdalenes connect deeply through the channel pillar to your divine presence to receive divine wisdom. Make the time to meet with your divine presence and allow its consciousness to be present every day in your life. Invite it in. Just allow it to be present. Be conscious throughout the day. Oh, my presence is with me. Make this part of your daily practice, except that you do not need to think your divine presence into existence. You don't need to think it into existence. It already is, and has no need of your mind to create it. It's perfectly capable of being present on its own. So make room for your divine presence to be present in its own way. And, you know, as Catherine and Colin said earlier, they sense their divine presence all the time. They know the energy and the consciousness of their divine presence, which is such an amazing gift to give yourself. It really is. Because, you know, you can be in your mind and your personality and you're in your day, and then you can just take a breath and suddenly be really conscious of your presence. And everything shifts. Everything shifts when you allow that. And then you can get into your day and be la 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 and be in your day, and then, you know, you can just go and sit somewhere and, oh, let's just sit with the presence. And it really makes such a difference to your life when you can do that. And it's simply a practice, simply a choice and a practice. Simply a practice. Now I see many people channeling. You know, you see them on social media channeling, offering channels, and I see them, you know, other people doing channels. Most people channeling are still working through their minds. So few channels are actually working through a truly opened high frequency channel that's embodied. Because there's no frequency. You can tell immediately. When you get used to working with allowing frequency to embody you, you know immediately if there's frequency or not. And this is something you can practice. You know, do your light language with your buddy and then just share frequency. Just to get used to frequency. Because when you receive frequency, it expands you. It can be tingling. It's like an energy vibrating through all your cells. It's not just a mind thing. It's got nothing to do with the mind. It's a whole experience. You know? Your divine presence frequency is voidal. So it is important to let go all resistance to going into a deep voidal space so you can connect with your divine presence. It is also important to acknowledge when and where you are not making that connection deeply within you. The deep voidal space is the feminine heart of God's love light. So you need to drop into no mind space or theta brainwaves to open to this connection deeply. If you are not doing this, then truly you are not opening to your connection to your divine presence. When in their mastery, a Magdalene can drop into this voidal space from their ego mind in a matter of minutes. It's just moving from one reality to another. But it's a choice and it's a practice. And it's moving from one frequency to another frequency. And your whole body needs to enliven to it. It's not just a mind thing. Oh, I'm in my ego, now I'm in my presence. I'm not. Unless my whole body is participating in it, then I'm not. It requires practice and training, which is what we're doing here. And the more you practice it and experience what it is, because it's a whole body experience. It is not a mind experience. So be the physical vehicle. Trust and faith in the existence of your divine presence is vital, which is what we talked about in lesson 1. It allows you to let go of the power and control of your rational mind that prevents you from dropping into voidal space. So, about letting that go. The rational mind fears this space because it makes you feel a little unconscious. And so when you're unconscious, you can't control. You know, the mind has got no control. Make a conscious choice to surrender to your divine presence and receive its wisdom without doubt and questions. The more you get to know the vibration of that frequency, the less you will doubt and question it. So once again, how do you do that? The only way I know is for you to keep practicing. So you get to know it. Because it's different for everyone. So surrender and become the physical vehicle for your divine presence to share its wisdom and divine light on earth. When you choose to do this, and it is a choice, you have to choose it, then your physical vehicle is no longer the vehicle of your mind and rational thought. It becomes a physical channel for the expression of the divine, which is what it's always meant to be. Our physical vehicle is always meant to be that. But we've allowed the mind and the ego to run it. And this requires you to let go. To drop into, you know, it's like taking a step out into the void and just not being frightened of where it's going to take you. So remember, the Magdalenes are divinely attuned energy portals. Your body is that portal. ask yourself what energy is flowing through your portal right now. So just close your eyes for a minute. And just, what energy is flowing through? Are you in your mind? Or are you connected to your whole body? What's the energy feel like? Is it low? Is it low vibration? Middling vibration? Higher vibration? Is it tingling? Is it expanding you? Where are you sitting? Are you sitting in your heart portal, or are you sitting in your mind? Are you connected to Mother Earth? Is the energy moving through? You're very action orientated. Oh, I've got to go and do this. I've got to go and do this. I wish you'd hurry up and stop speaking and I can go and do that. When's this class going to end? Or, how can I control this? I really want to be a Magdalene. How can I control the Magdalene? What can I do? Or are you in your heart portal, connected to all the cells of your body, in no time, no space? And are you allowing yourself just to drop and be held by Mother Earth? Just become aware. And this awareness is vital, just to be aware of what you're doing, what you're creating in your reality. And it's something that you need to practice with, you know. Just a couple of times a day, just take a breath and just do this. Just go in and ask, okay, where am I at? What's happening with my energy right now? Am I in my head? Am I in my heart? Am I in my spleen? Am I in my liver? Where am I sitting in my energy right now? Or am I in that other person's energy field? Am I trying to do something with them? Or am I trying to be like them? Or am I trying to change them or fix them? What am I doing? Where am I at? Or am I with Mother Earth? Just, you know, it only takes, you know, you get to a place where this should only take a minute of your day, where you just take a breath, just stop everything, and you just check in with yourself. You check in with the energy. You check in with your beautiful portal. What is your portal doing in this moment? And then get on with your day. And then maybe do this 3 times a day. Just stop, take a breath, 1 minute, and just check in with your energy flow, where it's at, what it's doing. Because whatever is going on with your energy flow is what's creating your reality. So really become conscious of that. It's a really good practice for Magdalenes, because in this way, the more you practice this, the easier it's going to be for you to drop into channel at any time. And I've told you how, you know, I used to spend an hour and a half getting my energy to a place where I could go into channel. You know, I did that for about a year or so before I channeled the masters. I'd go and meditate for an hour and a half, do all that, because that's what my mind told me I had to do. And then I could channel, and I'd do my light language, and, you know, I had the whole ceremonial thing. Nothing wrong with any of that, but just practicing what your portal's doing at every moment will actually assist you to be able to drop into channel very deeply, because you'll become very conscious of the difference between mind consciousness, heart consciousness. So sit in stillness. When you drop deeply into the voidal energy, become one with all that is. So just be aware of that. Are you one with all that is? Do you feel connected? You're anchored in God consciousness on the earth in physical matter. You're in your body, but you're also connected to the God consciousness. You're sitting in stillness with a voidal heart. It gives you a deep connection to your divine presence. Allow yourself to make this connection. So, once again, I know I come back to this all the time, but I can't tell you how important this is. Work to release the unresolved karma that holds separation to God's heart and your divine presence. Release all resistance to connecting deeply to God's source, and become conscious of your subconscious emotions and programs and whatever is held within them. If a Magdalene is not doing this work, you will not be channeling deeply. No matter how much you tell yourself you are, you will not, because the karma will block you. Remember that your subconscious mind runs about 80% of your daily thinking, including your beliefs, emotions, and programs. And most people only work with about 20% or less of their conscious mind to make mindful decisions that create right action in their lives. So most of the time they're making decisions that are not creating right action in their life because they're working through old karmic beliefs, emotions, and programs. So you're asked to be conscious. You need to swap that around. You want to be conscious 80% of the time, not 20%. Your consciousness and higher mind hold the vibrational frequency of the divine within you. They are not a thought, a belief, an emotion, a program, or an action. The more you accept and embrace your divine presence, the presence of God's source within you, the more you are held in your conscious self and are no longer in the subconscious mind or the unconscious self. Because if you're still in your thoughts and your beliefs, your emotions, I know lots of people will tell me that, they've been guided by their feeling in their gut and their feelings, and they think that's coming from their heart chakra. And I say, well, that's not your heart chakra, that's your solar plexus. Feelings are not guidance. Feelings are emotions. They're reactions to something, whatever that might be. They're a reaction. They are not guidance, a program or an action. So if you're allowing your emotions to constantly guide you, then that's exactly what you're doing. You're allowing old karmic reaction to be guiding you. So there's nothing wrong with emotions, but be aware what's an emotion and what's guidance. Two very different things. So to really receive guidance, you need to be in the heart chakra, not in the solar plexus. And your emotions come from the solar plexus, not the heart chakra. Become aware of your unconscious and subconscious mind so that they begin to rule you less, and instead choose to become more conscious of your energy fields. The more you become conscious of your 7 lower bodies and then your 5 higher bodies, the more you will expand yourself. Make choices through the conscious mind and allow the higher vibrational consciousness of you to be more present in your life. Be aware of your shadows. Falling unconscious when you are receiving a channel allows you to let go of the subconscious mind. But if it occurs all the time, then you need to ask yourself what part of you is blocking you from receiving at a conscious level. Now this is for you, Marianne, but it's for not just for you, it's for lots of people. If you fall asleep and begin snoring even, because lots of people do, then you know you have a shadow aspect that does not want to receive higher consciousness and transformation. There is a fear of change or even a fear of connection. There was always some fear. If this occurs for you regularly, then you need to do some karmic work, and you don't want to soothe the divine decrees. You want to use the divine decrees to let go of this old shadow consciousness. So you actually need to use the 6 karmic steps and do the divine decrees. You need to do your karmic work. Otherwise you're like this poor poochie that's knocked out, doesn't receive anything. You're receiving frequency, but you're not receiving the consciousness. The mind shuts down. Sometimes you completely let go in higher frequency channels and feel like you are sleeping. But your mind is simply shut down as it cannot enter the voidal pathways of being. When this occurs, it allows you to simply be and receive the higher frequency without any interference from your mind. Then you receive the alchemical transformation at a deep level in your being. This may happen a lot in the early days of receiving high frequency consciousness from an embodied channel. Eventually the mind is disciplined and comes into stillness and silence and no longer needs to shut down so you can receive. Now, Marianne, this is what we thought was happening for you, but as you've said, it's been going on for 20 years and it's not just happening in meditation, so it's much more than that. So bring balance into your life. You need to spend time in the void so your mind gets used to you being in the void, because it can't control the void. The mind is not in control in the void. You don't receive through the mind. You receive through the heart consciousness. Be in this deep place of receptivity without the subconscious or conscious mind interfering. In this way you are being instead of doing. It's about practicing being. There are many different levels in the void. Each level has its purpose. For the Magdalenes, the void is a place of surrender to the divine presence and coming into a place of receptivity so you can receive at a very deep level. All Magdalenes really need to practice being in the void. You need, because this is the place you channel from. If you can't be in the void and be conscious, then you really can't channel your higher consciousness. This is when you get used to being in the void, it helps you to sleep better. It allows the mind to let go and not be so attached to everything. You become a lot less mind focused, and it helps to bring balance into your life. So spending more time in the void is really, really important for embodied channels. Now, the alchemy of transformation is really important. Every activation and channel you receive during the Path of the One's Heart School offers you an opportunity to release and transform old energy to a higher vibration. These activations are channeled from the Christed Masters that hold a high vibrational frequency. And this same high vibrational frequency is actually shared with you through my embodied channel, and it actually affects you at a deep cellular level. The frequency comes to you on the sound waves of my voice, which is only carrying words, but underneath the words there is frequency being shared with you that holds intention. And it will actually go into the consciousness of the cells of your being and help to create transformation in those cells. But of course it's not going to do this if you're not open to receiving, if you're shutting down, if you can't go into that voidal space and really receive at a deep level. Whatever resistance or control you're holding through your free will while you are receiving these channels will dilute the power of the alchemical frequency that is offered to you. Therefore, it dilutes the transformation you receive through all levels of your cellular and molecular structure. Now, it's really important you understand this because this is for your own growth. And, you know, sometimes you'll do this course and you might listen to these channels 5 or 6 times over the next few years. And you will find as you do, if you've got resistance now, in maybe 3 years' time of listening to them, that will have dissipated. But I'm going to say to you, wouldn't it be really great if you let go of that resistance now, instead of having to keep listening to them for 3 more years or 4 more years? You can still keep listening to them because they'll just go deeper, and they'll affect more consciousness within your being. But wouldn't it be great if you could just make a choice and do that now? If you're not doing your karmic work, then you're going to be governed by your shadows, and so you won't be able to make those choices. So this is why the karmic work's so important. And the other thing that's important for you to understand about alchemical transformation is that this is what you're going to be doing through channeling your divine presence. Because your divine presence is going to be sharing frequency. You'll be sharing words, and you might get attached to the words because your mind wants to get attached to the words, but it's not about the words. As the Masters always said to me, you could say blah, blah, blah. You could just do an hour of blah, 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 blah. You could do an hour of light language, which is probably more appropriate. But the frequency that's coming out actually has conscious intention that you can't hear through the mind and through your ears, but you hear through your consciousness. You know, it's the same way when you do light language to a dog or a bird or a tree. They don't understand the light language, but they understand the frequency, the expression of your soul. And this is what channeling is. Being an embodied channel is doing exactly the same thing. Which is why I want you to practice with your light language, to get out of the thing of the mind where you have to share words. You have to share a message. No, you are here to share the higher frequency that has conscious intention of your divine presence that your mind doesn't know anything about. And to trust that.
Ishta, I have a question.
Yep.
So initially, when I started taking your courses, I was definitely zonked out a lot of the time. More recently, no. However, every now and again, I will listen to a meditation or activation from, I don't know, a year or more ago, and I go again. I'm just curious as to why.
Yeah. Well, usually because there's a frequency in it that the mind is unable to receive. So it's okay for the mind to get blocked out. If you were doing this every time you received a high frequency channel, then I'd know that was some sort of karmic resistance. But sometimes we're receiving a high frequency energy and the mind just has to be blocked out. Sometimes the mind is too active, so it can't go past that voidal space. But the conscious mind can be present. But sometimes the mind is, you might be in a state where the mind is too present, and so you just get knocked out because the mind can't be present. And and that's okay if it's happening, but you're receiving the frequency, and that's what's needed. Yeah.
And I always come back prior to the end of it.
Yeah, and
It's
always
usually just for a little bit.
And always we do. But if this was happening with every single channel you're receiving, and as Marianne said, the same thing was happening for her. But as we've discovered today with Marianne, it's actually happening when, not just with channeling or with meditation, it's happening to her when she's in a learning phase, when she's being asked to receive some information or wisdom from someone, the mind blanks out. So there's a part of her that actually doesn't want to receive, it doesn't want to listen. So that's a different thing. So, so it's a different thing.
Okay, thank you.
But if it's happening all the time, you do need to look at that. And yes, in the early days, maybe in the first 6 months of doing the work, it will happen. But then it should stop happening, because then you get used to the frequency and the mind is, steps back.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay. And that's really important for a channel because the mind has to learn to step back. You won't be able to channel while the mind's fully present. Or if you try to, it's going to be really uncomfortable, And usually the divine presence will be there for a minute and will go back. I had that experience when I first started channeling the masters, but the masters had intention and they didn't worry about my mind being present. They would just talk over my mind. But the problem was, while they were talking and I wasn't listening, I was having this debate with my mind. I can't tell you how uncomfortable that is. While you're having this conversation internally with your mind while these masters are talking through you. I can tell you, I can multitask, but that was very uncomfortable. So, it would really help me when my mind learnt to drop back, to step back, and my mind then steps to the side and, starts to listen to the channels because it wasn't listening, or it was, but it was debating and thinking it could do better and all this sort of stuff. And I wouldn't have said that, and I would have said it like this. And I mean, it was unbelievable, when that was going on. So, and the masters didn't care. They were just channeling through me, So the presence won't do that, by the way. The presence won't do that. But the masters did because of the contract I have with them, which I didn't know at the time. But so just become aware of that because the mind needs to learn the discipline of stepping aside and letting it flow, and that means you're going into the void, and then the mind can't go, so it's there, but it can't go with you into the void. So every time a master embodied channel shares a higher frequency consciousness with you, or you share with someone else, this energy penetrates the cells at a deep level. That's the law of resonance, because the consciousness of the cells calls that energy to it. It's the law of resonance. It attracts it. And so whether you're receiving or whether you're giving high frequency, this is what's going on. It supports transformation at a molecular and cellular level of your being. And this is what embodied high frequency channels do. So it's really important for you to remember this work is not just about sharing messages. It's so much bigger than that. It's about creating transformation at a molecular and cellular level of the being. And this is what the Magdalenes do. This is what embodied channels do. They're creating transformation at a molecular and cellular level through the high frequency consciousness that they are sharing. Now, the thing is, that high frequency consciousness needs to be high frequency consciousness, not mind consciousness. And it can't be high frequency consciousness if you are in resistance to allowing your presence to be present and flowing through you. So in this way, a deep transformation of your consciousness takes place, or the person's consciousness that you're sharing with. But if you hold fear and resistance in your being, then your consciousness resists and pushes this frequency away. Because the frequency and resistance is not attracting the high frequency. So remember, law of resonance, like attracts like, and anything else is pushed away. So if you've got a lot of fear and resistance in your being, which is karma, a lot of separation energy, once again karma, sitting in your field, in any of your 7 lower bodies, which we all do, you need to work on it, because you will not be receiving what you need to receive at a molecular and cellular level of your being. And you won't be able to channel that high frequency and share it with others at a molecular and cellular level of their being. Yeah. And yeah, they may have karma and fear and they're pushing it away, but some parts of their cells will go, oh, this is great, I'm going to slurp this up, I'm going to grab this because it's going to make me feel amazing, you know. So you're going to have some parts of you that are going to push it away and some parts of you that are going to grab it. From a Magdalene point of view, we want as many parts of your cells and molecular consciousness to slurp it up, but it all depends on the law of resonance. So it really depends on what you've got. And it's the same thing with your clients, you know. Working with them to clear their karmic consciousness is really important, so that they can receive more and more. Once again, law of resonance, really important. You know, the bead of the flower. So to dive deeply and allow yourself to meet the divine within you, it is important for you to surrender your free will. And this is your struggle. While you may believe you do this, the fact is that often you do not. Your mind is in control and does not wish to let go, so there is often a little resistance to going too deep in your meditation when your mind is controlling what you experience. So often what happens is, it's a bit like this image. There is a doorway, and you'll find when you're going in, even into the void, there are lots of doorways. There's this long corridor, and there are lots of doorways. Now, you might go through the first doorway, your mind's happy to go that far, but then you won't go through the next one. So how deep are you allowing yourself to go? How much are you allowing yourself to receive? Because if you're not allowing yourself to receive really deeply, then how can you possibly expect anyone you're channeling for to do the same thing? Because you're not at that level. You need to drop deeply. And it's the same thing as, you know, when you're doing a meditation for someone, you need to drop into the meditation at that deep level that you want the people to go to. You need to be actually doing the meditation, because if you go to that level, they automatically go with you. That's the law of resonance. But if you're just, you know, like we've seen sometimes in the mentors, just reading it from a piece of paper, reading a transcript of a meditation to somebody with no frequency, and you're not doing it, then they're not going to do it either, because once again, law of resonance, you're not taking them on the journey. You want people to go on a journey in a meditation, you have to drop deeply into it. So if you want people to receive your channel at a deep frequency, you need to be able to drop to a deep frequency in yourself. You need to be able to sit with presence. So when you receive a guided meditation, this is a really good exercise. Particularly a channeled meditation or activation, let go and choose to follow the directions. This is what a guided meditation does. It guides you to where you need to go. Listen to the instructions, be guided by them, and then just imagine yourself doing this. And yes, you can imagine things. It's really good to do. If you do this, then you find that you can drop into a deeper channel very easily. Now, one of the reasons that I believe I was able to be a very powerful embodied channel, and I am a very powerful embodied channel, is because I was actually able to listen and follow instructions. I know that sounds funny, but I was. And you need to ask yourself, are you really listening and following instructions, or are you off somewhere else, or do you create another journey? When you're listening to a guided meditation, and we're going to do one today, are you actually doing it, or are you somewhere else? Where are you? Do you really listen to the instructions? And do you know the instructions say, oh, we're going to drop deeply into the universal heart. Do you imagine the universal heart and see yourself dropping into it? We're going to climb the steps of the temple to the temple doorway. Do you imagine yourself walking up the steps to the temple doorway and being in front of the doorway? We're going to go into the temple, and when we go into the temple, we're going to find rose quartz crystal in the center. Do you imagine yourself walking into the temple and seeing the rose quartz crystal? Go up to the rose quartz crystal and touch it. Do you actually imagine yourself doing that? Do you follow directions? Because if you're not doing that, you're going to really struggle to be a channel. If you're creating your own directions, you're going somewhere else, you're doing whatever, and you're not actually listening and following the directions, you will really struggle to be the channel that you're meant to be. Because that's your will, that's your strong mind, and it's in resistance. So I'm going to say to all of you, start watching yourself in meditations. Are you following directions? Are you listening? Are you doing what you're asked to do? Or are you doing your own thing somewhere? Making your shopping list? Or have you taken yourself somewhere else? Oh, I know better than this, I'll go somewhere else. That's will and mindfulness, or mindless. So become aware of what you're doing. And then I'm going to ask you to actually practice listening and following the directions and just imagining each step as you're being taken. Because the more you allow yourself to do that, the deeper you are going to go. And amazing things will start to happen for you if you choose to do that. It's up to you. But I really highly suggest it. Because your mind is in control, it's usually because you don't like to be directed or led. You don't want to listen, you don't want to be directed, you don't want to be led. Maybe this because a part of you does not have trust or have faith. Perhaps there's a shadow aspect in fear that prefers to always be in control to feel safe. We suggest you work with this shadow part of you back to divine truth if you wish to become a deep channel for the Magdalenes. So you need to bring this shadow part back to its light so it stops controlling you. Choose to let go, follow the directions given, and allow your imagination to do the rest. This is really important. And don't think because you're letting your imagination do it that your third eye is not involved. Don't worry, it'll kick in. But you need to practice this. It's about listening. It's about following guidance. And this is about following guidance. One of the reasons I've always been able to follow guidance. Everything I do is on guidance. I haven't created one course that hasn't been on guidance. I've had lots of ideas that I wanted to do, but I haven't done any of them because I've been guided to do what I do. But I can give you a long list of ideas that my mind has made, created of things that I could do that I haven't done because I've followed what the Masters asked me to do. As I say, I'm good at doing directions. So when you practice this next meditation, try to stay within the void as long as you can. Get to know that place within you because it's actually within you. It's not, even though you might be going out of you, you're going within you. It's in this space of deep theta brainwaves that you need to be when you channel your divine presence. So you need to know where this place is. You need to know what it feels like. You need to allow yourself to be in it and go deep into it. When you channel the consciousness of divine wisdom and divine truth, you need to take yourself to a place where there is no mind and where you are in a deep trance state. You want to be in trance state. This is the channel state of an embodied channel. Make this your practice. Call to your angelic high self and allow your channel to open to the divine. And just let this consciousness flow through you and let go your resistance and let go your control. If a shadow steps up to go into control, don't let it. Say no. Please just sit and wait. Get your divine presence to wrap your shadow in light without letting your shadow control you. Be fully present. This is the state every Magdalene needs to channel in. In this state, you allow the consciousness of divine presence to move through your portal. I found this to be a great image. I think it's a copyright image and I'm not supposed to have, but I just had to use it because it talks to our channel. And you see the energy coming in and going out from both the feminine and masculine hearts. And the clear clarity that it creates when we really truly open to receive that consciousness, and our channel flows in just clarity. I just had to use it, so because it just really speaks to what the channel's really doing, what you're receiving. So, you know, when you really allow this to happen, when you really let your divine presence to move through your portal and to be present, then you can share whatever the divine presence brings to you with full faith and trust. You then fully have faith and trust. You know, over the years, sometimes the masters have brought through stuff. I have no idea what they're talking about, but I just have to trust that this, you know, this has frequency, and it does. And it does. But my mind doesn't know that. At times, the divine presence has nothing to share except high frequency energy flow. And so it might be in silence, it might be in light language. But just trust that. It doesn't always have to be words. At other times, it shares divine wisdom and truth. Learn to still the mind, to expand the consciousness. Allow the consciousness to be fully present, and then let go and let it do what it needs to do. You are the embodied channel. And just let it flow through your physical portal, your vehicle. Be an open portal so that your divine presence may create what is needed in divine timing. Trust, have faith. There's another typo. So, this is your changing life work for this lesson. Asking yourself, how deeply do you go in your channeled meditation? Do you get knocked out or do you fall asleep? How often does it occur? Do you sit in your mind thinking or asking questions? And you're asked to send your answers to me. Do this meditation that we're about to do 2 more times and see if you can go deeper by following the guidance using your imagination. And then work with your body. Each of you is to channel a short meditation, no more than 20 minutes, but 10 minutes is fine, from your angelic higher self. So it's coming from your angelic higher self with directions. And ask your body to follow these in a deep state of meditation. Then discuss how you flowed with this. So you're going to create a meditation, a guided meditation for your body that you are going to ask your angelic higher self to offer you. So that guided meditation will definitely be connected to the gifts that your angelic higher self holds. If it's not, then you're not channeling your angelic higher self. So, you know, whatever, each angelic higher self has purpose and specific gifts. So if they're going to do a guided meditation, they will take you to meet these gifts in some way. They're not going to go and take you somewhere else to somebody else's gifts. They're going to take you to their gifts. So be aware of that. Don't let your mind step in and be the angelic higher self, because the mind loves to do that. It'll be the angelic higher self. It'll be your divine presence. It'll be Master Katumi or Lord Lanto. It'll be whoever you want it to be. But you're not here to channel your mind. So open to your angelic higher self. Ask your angelic higher self to channel a guided meditation for your body that will take your body to meet one of its gifts, the angelic higher self gifts. So 10 minutes, 20 minutes max. Please record it and then discuss how you flowed with it. So each of you is to receive from your channel and giving to your body, then to receive from your body and follow the directions. So just doing this, learning how to, whether you're listening, are you following directions? Can you be guided? Because this is all about, are you being guided too? This comes back to the question, are you actually listening? And are you actually following the guidance you're receiving? Are you doing this, or are you ignoring it? And going, oh no, my mind knows better than that, I'll just follow my mind. No? That's not what I want to do. I want to do this. I'm going to follow what I want to do, my will. Observe any resistance that comes up. Become fully aware of it and how deep you went when channeling or when following the meditation Observe if there was a difference to when you were channeling or when you were following the guidance. Just start to work with that, and we will share about that at the next lesson. And also learn to practice your light language with each other and just sharing frequency. I'm going to add that to this changing life work. Just light language and frequency, nothing else, no channels, no words, just light language and frequency. And share with each other and see how it feels. And I want you to continue doing that over the rest of the course, because it's really important that you start to awaken to the frequency of your presence. So this is in your manual, so I'm just going over it, explaining it. So we're going to do a meditation called the Temple of Your Divine Self. The key wisdom of this is to honor the sacredness of you. There is a vast expanse of the void within your being. It's in your being. It's not outside. It's actually within you. When we say go into the void, it means go within the void within you, not go somewhere else. Even though it feels sometimes you're going somewhere else, it's actually within the vast universe of you, because you're a very big being. You are vast and powerful. You manifest in the physical form from the stars to the earth. You know, everyone talks about star seeds. Well, we're all star seeds. You know, everyone says, oh, there's only so many stars. We're all star seeds, by the way. Every single one of us, because we all hold star energy. Many parts of you walk this universe learning their wisdom, your wisdom, learning the wisdom of you. The masculine heart of God within you holds all the knowledge and wisdom that you have learned through all your actions and experiences in the physical planes of existence. The masculine heart of God, your masculine twin flame energy, holds all the knowledge and wisdom that you have learned through all your actions and experiences in the physical planes of existence. Now that doesn't mean just on the earth, by the way. Physical planes of existence is right throughout the universe, in many dimensions, many planets, many star systems, not just of the earth. We tend to get very blinkered about this, but we need to expand our understanding of it. Especially if you're going to channel your divine presence, because it may be channeling a lot about that greater universe. And if you're blinkered about it and it's all about the earth for you, then you're going to get a big shock when it starts talking about other things. The voidal heart of God within you, the feminine twin flame, holds the voidal consciousness of your being and all that you have received in guidance and wisdom in loving connection through the heart of God. So it's all that you have received in guidance and wisdom is all held in that feminine twin flame. So it's all about what you've received from God, from your connections, from your learnings, from your experiences. It's not the actions or the experience, it's just the consciousness that you've received. The actions are held in the masculine heart. The heart of your divine presence is a crystalline consciousness. It's the very conscious center. Your being is the altar of your divine presence. Your being. Not just your physical being, but your entire being. All that you are, your eternal self, is the altar of your divine presence. And your divine presence sees it as that. The temple of the divine self. Now, this is channeled from my higher self to you. So I'm going to ask you just to all get comfy. Do you want a quick toilet break? We'll give you a couple of minutes to go to the bathroom if you need it. And if anyone has a question, I'm here to answer them.
Ishtar,
Yeah.
thank you. When you say it's the one before, when it was saying a crystalline consciousness, what does that mean? The crystalline bit.
The crystalline bit.
Rather than.
Yeah. Rather than.
Well, rather than just consciousness. I mean, what difference does it make that it's crystalline?
Think about when you think of the word crystalline, think of the consciousness it is. It's very pure. It's very clear. Yeah. It's very focused. Crystals have an intention, a purpose. They know what it is. They don't sort of, a rose quartz crystal doesn't swap with an obsidian crystal to change its consciousness or its purpose. It's very clear. It's very focused. So it has that clear, pure, crystalline focus and intention. Yeah.
So when we say the crystalline heart or the crystalline, you know, in Mother Earth, there is the crystalline center.
Yeah.
That is her
and
pure intention sort
and
of
that
thing.
is that pure intention. And it appears often, you know, when people see it as a big, huge crystalline egg, Mother Earth in the heart of the thing, because it's that pure light energy that's very crystalline in its intention. So it's that clear crystalline consciousness, as opposed to the consciousness that may not be that clear, you know.
Okay.
So it's
Like mine.
the purity of consciousness, and it has its own focus and purpose, and it never deviates
Okay.
from that, because it's
Right.
created for that purpose. And it doesn't suddenly say, oh, I want some of what she's having, or I want some of what he's having, and I'm going to go over
Yeah.
play with that because that's what I want to do. I don't want to do what I'm here to do. I want to do what they're here doing, you know. So it really knows its purpose. It's not shifted from that, because it's that pure crystalline energy, which is, you know, once again crystalline in what it is and knows what it is. But in my understanding too, that energy often appears as crystal, you know, energy. You know, it's that, you know, crystals in the earth are forged from volcanic flame and lava. That's how they get created. So it's a really hard, durable energy that's forged from fire and heat and flame. And, you know, it's like the star energy. It's the same thing. When a star explodes, you know, or a star is created, it's formed from that same consciousness of creation. Yeah.
And
So
and a lot of pressure, no?
yeah.
Or is that not?
Well, it's a lot of, you know, this is what it is. It's that focus. It's, you know, it's molded into its focus. Yeah. So, you know, it comes into its mastery.
Okay.
So that's how I see it as being. And often when we're being brought crystalline, you know, when you know, a light crystal's brought to us, it's brought to us because it holds that very clear purpose and intention. It's pure. It's not affected by anything else. It actually has very clear consciousness.
Super. Thank you.
So that's what it's meant. It's, you know, it's the same thing. When you think about the word crystalline, it's actually what it means. It's
Yes, but it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we have that reflection a lot in it. Thank you. Good question. You always have good questions, Alna. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So I think we've got time maybe to all come back. So everyone just get comfy. I'm just going to put it on. I'm just trying to remember how long this one is. I don't think it's that long.
And Ishtar, just as a technical note, when you share the sound, you know, like you do through Zoom, you can turn off your mic.
Oh, can I? I thought that turned everything off.
No, it just turns off the mic.
Oh, okay.
So then if you're moving around the room, we don't hear it.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I usually don't move. Oh, sometimes I do, yeah, so you do hear it.
Well, not often, but a couple of times I've heard it, and I think I must remember.
Oh, because I thought, oh, well, I'll tell you, just tell me, I'll turn it off now and just tell me, and I'll just do it. So tell me now if I actually, if you...
You have to share the sound.
Yeah, I'm going to do that now. So I'm doing it, computer audio, share, and then I'm going to play it, and I'll turn my mic off, so just tell me if you don't hear anything. Hold on. Where we're going to go back to the start. Right. So I'm going to turn my mic off. So I do mute.
Yeah. That's it.
Now just remember, in this meditation you're asked to actually follow directions and do the meditation.
Well, Ishtar, I can't hear anything, so maybe
And as you breathe in,
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, I can hear it. Yes.
Oh, how
divine
does that
light of that
happen?
star, sacred light of that star,
Yes.
it expands your heart, it expands you.
Okay, so I'll have to start again. Sorry,
Breathe
everyone.
deeply and receive the earth.
I'm sorry. We had a little experiment, didn't work. Okay.
And just to breathe deeply now, in and out of your heart. Breathing in the divine light of you. Breathing out the divine light of you. And as you breathe deeply, with each breath, become aware that your heart chakra is a beautiful star of light. And as you breathe in, you are breathing in the divine light of that star, sacred light of that star. And it expands your heart, it expands you. And as you breathe out that light all around you, into all your 12 energy bodies. And it expands and illuminates all that you are. So focusing on that breath, focusing on that divine light, allow it to fill you, expand you, becoming the star of light that you are. And with your out breath, sharing that light out to all of your energy bodies and illuminate your field. See the rays of that star go out to touch all 12 energy bodies, filling your energy bodies with that divine light, with sacred connection. The very core of you. Breathing in, breathing out. Focusing on that pure light, becoming the sacred star with each breath that you take. And in your mind's eye, where that star began as a small star in your heart portal, with each breath that you take, it becomes a larger star until it fully encompasses you and you become the star. An expanded sacred star of light. With each in-breath, you expand. With each out-breath, you share. Illuminating the space around you. Breathing in, breathing out. Expanding that sacred stuff with every breath that you take until it becomes all that you are. The sacred star of life. And as you breathe, dear one, breathing deeply into the star of light that you are. Opening your heart and your mind to the eternal light of your being. As one in unity together. And feel the power of this, the strength of this, as it becomes you. As you become the sacred star of light. Breathe deeply and allow it to embolden you, to empower you, to illuminate you. And bow down to the sacredness of your life, letting go all else, forsaking all else. And allowing the sacredness of your being to be present, expanded and illuminated in this space where you see. Focus on the breath, dear one. Focus on the breath. And as you breathe deeply, come now with us and journey into this sacred star of light that you are. See the many rays of light that emanate from you, reaching out, connecting with all that is around you. And then see the vast expanse of light that holds you, that is the core, like the sun, of your being. And as you begin to breathe again, in your next out breath, drop deeply into this vast expanse of light that you are. Breathing in, and with the out breath, sending yourself deeply into the core of you. Coming into the center of this sacred star with each out breath that you make. Breathing and expanding the light of you. Breathing out and dropping into the center of you. Letting go, letting go, letting go. And as you breathe in the pure light, beloved one, becoming aware of its brilliance and its illumination. As you breathe out, dropping into the void of you, becoming aware of the void within you, the vastness of this space within you, and letting go, and dropping deeper into this place. Breathing in deeply, illuminating the sacred light of you, expanding, breathing out and dropping into the vastness of you, into the void. And understanding, dear one, they are one and the same, connected. The vastness of the void within you, the illumination of the light around you. Not separate, but one. The illumination of the light around you, like the sun. And as you drop deeply into the corner and the center of the sun, you discover the void, the vastness of you, the vastness of your sun. But in its vastness, in its void, it is full, filled with light, filled with life, filled with consciousness. Not empty, but full. As you drop deeper and deeper into the darkness of the void within you, with each out-breath that you make. As you do, dear one, you are called to a light that sits at the center of this void. And you are drawn to this with each out-breath that you make. And you're asked to drop deeper and deeper and recall this place. To come into the heart of your divine self. And as you come to this place, you will be met at the entrance of the temple of your divine self by a higher self of you. It will be the highest self that you know, the one that you work with, more deeply than any other. And they will call to you and ask you to step to them. Breathing and letting go now. And as you breathe, they place a golden robe of light around you. They ask you to follow the golden path into this temple, to follow this path and it will flow before you. Sometimes as a deep river, sometimes as a single thread of light, of gold, light. And I ask you to walk this path now. Say, open the doorway for you, and ask you to walk the golden path within, through the corridors of this temple, of your divine self. And as you walk this path, it will take you to an altar that honors all that you are. It honors the journey of your soul, all that you have been, all that you will be, all that you have made manifest in the physical of your being, from the stars to the earth. And you are asked to offer your blessings to this altar and ignite the sacred flame of this altar for you, to acknowledge the many parts of you that have walked this universe, in their learning and in their wisdom. And to give thanks for them. Whether they sit in the shadows or the light, it does not matter. But to honor them, to give thanks to them. And when you are complete, your higher self will come and ask you to continue to walk the golden path in this temple, the spiral temple of consciousness, made of pure light and intention. And as you walk the spiral of consciousness on the golden path, you will come to a second altar. And this altar of light will hold many prisms, many holograms that represent the monetic consciousness of your being, all the souls of your monad, and all the extensions of their consciousness that unify and interact with you on all levels. And you are asked to honor and to bless all consciousness of your monad, all the souls of your monad, all the extensions of your monad. To ignite the sacred flame of this altar, to bless and give thanks. Breathing deeply, dear ones, breathing deeply. And as you breathe deeply, your higher self will come and once more ask you to continue to walk the spiral of the golden path of this temple of your divine self. And so you're asked to walk, to follow the golden path in the spiral of this temple of life. Breathing deeply. Breathing deeply. And as you breathe deeply, dear one, we will come to a third altar of life. And this altar will hold the power of your divine light. The masculine heart of God within you. It will hold the knowledge and the wisdom that you have learned through all your actions in the physical, and your experiences in the physical planes of existence. Many keys, many tools that have been learned, many wisdom, all gifts that you have brought to the heart of source. And you are asked to honor this and to bless them as you ignite the sacred flame of life on this altar. Breathing deeply. And as you breathe deeply, honoring the masculine heart flame of you, the consciousness of God that you have been shared, that has been given to learn, to experience, to become. Your higher self will come to you and will ask you to continue to walk the spiral path, the golden path of life. In the temple of your divine self. And you will be asked to continue on this journey. Breathing deeply, following the golden path on the spiral of this temple of light. And as you walk, your higher self will hold you deeply in their hearts, honoring you and blessing you, assisting you on this journey of deep connection. And to breathe deeply and to receive. And as you do, dear ones, you will come to the fourth altar, this altar of light, in the spiral of your temple of divine self. Will hold the vital heart of God within you. Will hold the vital consciousness of your being. All that you have received in guidance, in wisdom, in loving connection to the heart of God, with the heart of God that resides in all beings, to all that you have opened to. And you are asked to breathe and to bless the consciousness on this altar, to give thanks in deep gratitude for all that you have received, to the vital heart, to the loving heart, and to ignite the sacred flame of this altar, honoring the feminine heart of God within you, that brings to you all that your soul needs to receive, so that you may manifest the keys and tools of your wisdom to the masculine heart, and anchor them in the physical plane of existence. In alignment with the consciousness of your soul. And so do you once breathe. Deeply of this. Breathe deeply. And honor this within you. And be as one with all that you are. On the golden path to your divine self, to the unified consciousness of God that holds you. Breathe deeply and open to this connection, sitting within this. And as you breathe, beloved ones, the higher self comes to you and asks you once more to walk the golden path on the spiral of light to the heart of your divine presence. Walking the path with an open heart. And as you walk the spiral, breathing deeply, focusing on the golden path, it will lead you to the crystalline presence of the heart of your divine presence. Large, crystal consciousness. You're asked to stand before it, to feel its consciousness, to sense it, to breathe in its light. And then to walk closer to it. To place yourself against it. Placing your palms against it. Your third eye against this crystalline consciousness of life. Your heart against it. Your sacral against it. And as you do, breathing deeply over it. And allowing it to merge with you as you merge with it. And as it breathes you in. Let go. And go within this crystalline consciousness, the heart of your divine presence. And sit within it. As you do, many pure diamonds of light begin to illuminate. And you're asked to breathe in the light that they emanate for you. Let this fill every cell of your being. Allow them to open you, to bless you. And as they bless you, beloved, they will ignite the sacred flame within you. For you are the altar of your divine presence. And the sacred flame on your altar is now being ignited. Breathe and allow. And breathe in the sacred flame. Allow it to expand within you. As you come to understand that you are the altar of your divine presence. The more that it is honored, the more that it is blessed, the greater the sacred flame inflames, enlarges and expands. Breathe, beloved hearts, breathe. And know that you are held in the crystalline heart of your divine presence. Many rainbow rays of light begin to come now. They come to fill the altar of your divine presence, you. Open to receive them. Open to receive them. It is the gift of your divine presence that blesses you. Breathe deeply and receive this gift. Breathing deeply. And as you breathe now, a golden ray of light is placed before you. And your divine presence asks for you to place within this golden ray whatever it is that you are needing assistance with at this time. To simply place it in this golden ring. No need to say what you want done with it, but to surrender it in full faith to the divine presence, simply asking for assistance. But before you do, you are asked to be clear about what it is you want assistance with. Go deep within your hearts. What is it that sits within your heart that is needing support at this time in some way? And place this into the golden ring and ask for assistance and support with this. And then breathe and let it go. Breathe and let it go. And as you let it go, beloved one, in full faith. Give no more thought to it. Allow the divine presence of your being to assist you without your interference. Simply surrender. Let it go. And as you breathe deeply, you're asked now to receive healing in this temple. To stay within the temple for the next 5 minutes of your time, simply receiving healing, consciousness and energy from your divine presence. Opening your heart and mind fully to receive. Allowing the consciousness of your divine presence to fill you, bringing harmony and grace to you on whatever level that it chooses to do. Let go all need to control what this is. Simply open your heart and mind and receive. Allow, let go and surrender. Be in this place of oneness until you have fully received and you know that you are complete. And when you are complete, you will come gently back into the altar of your divine presence, you. And go go gently into your day or night. Breathe deeply and receive the words. We leave you now into this space. Blessed be.
Just allow yourselves to sit in that space for a little while before you come into your mind, doing busy things, thinking, thinking, thinking. Instead, just allowing yourself to be, just being in that expanded state. How does that feel for you? Observe that for yourself. I send my love to all of you. Blessings. Blessed be. Blessed be. Blessed be.